recording and live stream. Oh, all right.
There we go. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Are we slowly getting ready in courtroom 2?
I think a few people are coming in.
Okay.
We can go.
All right, Mr. Shields. Deputy Francois, good morning. Just give me the green light when we're ready.
We're going to start with, come on, Mr. Shields. Good morning, Judge Lau. We're going to go ahead and start with position 18, Mr. Shields.
Okay. Just going to give my initial announcements. I hope my ASGs are present as well. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Law, and we are going to begin with our all-purpose calendar with the State Court of Fulton County today, December 19th, 2023 at 9 a.m. This is a list of misdemeanor cases in which individual cases have already been formally accused, and the defendants have bonds set for them. Today is to get a status of the cases to see whether the defendants would like to have their cases arraigned and further notice for trial, or whether they would like to consider a plea offer and enter a plea of guilty or not, or no contest in exchange for a recommended sentence. Other matters that I may address include bond modification and probation revocation issues. If you are a defendant charged with one or more misdemeanor offense, please remember that you have a right to remain silent about the facts and circumstances of your case. Any statements that you choose to make during this virtual proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you. This proceeding is being recorded and live streamed, so be very cautious as to what you say. And if you need to have a discussion, please speak with your attorney. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one would be appointed to represent you. So we have position number, was that 8, Mr. 8? Okay.
It's position
21 is Shields. Shields is 21.
18.
Are we operating on different calendars? I hope not. I hate when that happens.
That's all right. What's his name?
Shields, if we're talking about Shields? Yeah, you're Mr. Shields. So this should be 21 according to my calendar, but we might be operating on different calendars.
Good morning, Your Honor.
21.
I'm also.
Mine
I'm
is
on that
21
case
on
as
my
well.
calendar too, so we're good.
It's
Okay.
21, Judge.
Okay, good.
Mr. Shields' case is 23 CR 7694C. His name is Anthony Wayne Shields, accused of battery family violence from December 2nd, 2023. Mr. Shields, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Michael McLean. I understand that the state is seeking a transfer to the DA's office. Has that been completed, Ms. Pope?
Yes, Your Honor, it has. Well, I don't know that we've received acceptance of the case, but the request for transfer has been submitted.
Oh, I see. So it hasn't been transferred yet.
That's correct.
Okay. Mr. McLean, I understand your client wants to have the case arraigned and consider bond. Is that correct?
That's correct. I informed him of the intention of the state to ask the DA to take it. But I told him that unless and until that happens, that he is still in our court. And he said, well, my bond is $5,000. I sure would appreciate a extinguisher bond or a $1,000 bond, far more affordable. If I might flip to that, I believe that looking at his booking sheet, this is the only thing holding him.
Okay. So let's see now. Mr. Do you waive a reading of the accusation?
We do. We have a copy. We're looking at it right now.
All right, so Mr. Shields, you've been accused of a misdemeanor offense of battery, family violence. Upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for trial. It may be scheduled for trial either in the Fulton County State Court as a misdemeanor, or if it's transferred, it may be sent to the Superior Court to be scheduled for a felony trial. In either event, upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for trial where the prosecutor would have the complete burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. If the state does prevail, you could be, if it's tried as a misdemeanor, you could be convicted and sentenced to up to 1 year in jail and or up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
With regards to your bond, it was set at $5,000. This was a bond that was established, I believe, at his initial appearance. Why are we considering a modification, Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, he can't afford to make that bond and, excuse me. He is disabled. You get a disability check, do you not? And so the disability check amount that he receives, it's going to be basically government money that's designed to help him live, that would enable him to get out and live.
Ms. Pope,
Yes,
well,
Your Honor.
first of all, if you want to go through his GCIC and the reasons why the state either consents to the modification or opposes it.
So the state opposes the modification. I was told that we would not be arguing bond today, but I can prepare myself. What I can tell you is the reason that this case is a felony is because of a 2010 conviction in DeKalb County. We do have a certified copy and it is being sent up. The victim in this case, Wanda Champion, is the same victim from the 2010 case. The allegations here are that they got into an argument. Miss Champion said to the police, and it became a physical altercation. The allegations that the defendant walked up behind her, began punching her in the face and hit her in the kneecap with a hammer. She had purplish bruising on her face as well as her kneecap. That was consistent. One of the things that Miss Champion said is that she was tired of him beating on her. And if we're considering the Ayala factors, obviously the court is, I'm sorry, not the court, but the state is aware that as a misdemeanor, he's entitled to a bond, but the state believes that a $5,000 bond is more than appropriate in this case to ensure that there is no reoccurrence of this type of violence against the victim. And let me pull his history so I can give you all of that information.
Oh, and this DeKalb 2010 certified copy, what was the resultant or final?
It was a conviction for battery family violence, which is what makes this statutorily a felony. This would be his second conviction of battery family violence and against the same victim.
Do you have Ms. Tyson? Can you tell me about Mr. Shields' 2020, 2016, 2021, and 2020 incidences? Or at least his history from since 2016?
Yes, it looks like, so his last arrest was for a simple battery family violence, and he does have two pending cases. First case number is 22 SC 184-511, and that's for aggravated assault, counts of aggravated assault and 1 count of battery family violence subsequent conviction. Second case number is 22 SC 184-603. I'll waive sounding on the first charge. It's another charge of aggravated assault, battery family violence, subsequent conviction, aggravated stalking, and battery family violence. And it looks like that those 2 cases are open and assigned to Judge Carnicel.
Thank you. I was wondering about the amount of the bond set by Judge Morrow, and given the allegations of the warrant as well as his 2 open felony cases involving significant elements of violence, the request for a bond modification is denied. The case, subject to the DA's office accepting this case, it will then be transferred to Judge Carnesel. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you. Okay.
Deputy Francois, we have Attorney Jonathan Melnick. Mr. Melnick, who's your client?
It's Courtney Williams. He's on the probation revocation calendar. I believe it's
Alright.
the last position on the calendar, if I remember correctly.
All right, sir. Thank you. Next case, Deputy Francois, or shall I take Oconee County Jail?
Yes, you can take them, Judge.
All right. The deputy officer at Oconee County Jail, good morning.
Morning, ma'am.
What's the name of the individual in the room with you?
Alexander Flores.
Juarez, Juarez?
No, Flores. Flores, F.
Flores, F, okay. Is this a revocation matter?
So there, you've got the two sides. I forgot to copy both sides, but you've got the.
All right, this is a probation revocation matter, position 10 and 11 on our probation revocation calendar. Mr. Alexander Flores, Mr. McLean, are you representing Mr. Flores? Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, did we say, who's Mr. Melnick representing today?
No, Mr. Melnick is representing the last position on the revocation calendar, Williams, Courtney Williams.
All right,
This is Alexander Flores at the Oconee County Jail. He's on the Zoom panel. Are you representing him?
flip to that, Your Honor. That's an F. Alphabetically, that's likely to be Miss Evans.
That-
That's going to be Miss
No, no,
Evans.
no. Yeah, that's Abden's. That's Abden's case, and she needs to still speak with him.
Right.
Where's Miss Abden?
She's actually interviewing one of her clients, Judge, so if we can hold off on Oconee. And
Okay.
what's
We
the-
need Miss Abden, we need Miss Abden back in the court. She needs to be ready for court
Oh,
right now. So,
She's interviewing, Judge, she's interviewing the Cobb County, they just got here. And also, what is a good contact number for Oconee so that Ms. Abden can?
okay. Deputy at Oconee County Jail, Mr. Flores's appointed counsel is still in consulting with another client.
Yes,
May
ma'am.
we have a number that you can put in the chat directly to courtroom 2?
Yes, ma'am, I'll type it in. Give me one moment.
Yeah, directly to courtroom 2. Don't put it to everyone, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next, Judge, we have positions 33 and 34, Thompson.
Amir Thompson. What was the name?
This is Jesse John Thompson, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, that's a different person, sorry.
All right, your attorney is Larry Silverman. Is Larry Silverman on Zoom? Have you spoken to your attorney, Mr. Thompson?
No, ma'am.
All right, well, he's supposed to be on Zoom, so
Not yours? Your case?
Thompson.
Yeah, it's not yours.
Miss Strong or can you please reach out to Larry Thompson and let him know that he needs to be on this Zoom court session to address his client?
What position is this, Judge? I'm sorry.
33 and 34 for Jesse Thompson.
Okay.
Attorney is Larry Silverman,
Is
Lawrence Silverman.
Mr. Silverman a hired attorney that you've hired? No. Who is it?
Might have been a court appointed attorney.
Okay.
Let me see what's going on here. Mr. Thompson has 2 cases. Mr. Thompson,
Judge, who's his attorney? Are they present?
it's supposed to be Larry Silverman, but his prior attorneys included Rachel Jenks as well. So
Okay, we can move on to the next. Go ahead and back
Yeah.
for me.
Mr. McLean, you might want to look into that and see if the PD's office has taken over. I'm looking at his, it
Right.
but Silverman's got the star next to his name, so I'm assuming that he represents Mr. Thompson.
Yes, Your Honor,
He's here on a bench warrant.
right, and when the digital paperwork is sent for us to open, if it is indicated to be a private counsel, they don't send us the paperwork on that case at all. So I don't have a file on him, but we can create one as soon as we look at Odyssey.
Okay,
If indeed,
I don't, yeah, Mr.
noticed-
Thompson's in on a bench warrant. It looks like, the public defender's office has taken over, so you may have to confer with him as well.
Right, I noticed that the state has offered him a time served plea as the jail portion of the proposed sentence. So we would definitely want to talk to him today if that's possible.
All right. Who do we have now next to you, Mr. McLean?
I'm not sure.
This is going to be positions 18, 19, and 20. Mr. Schooler.
Schooler is the pronunciation of his last name, Your Honor, Mr. Schooler.
Say that again?
Mr. Schooler,
Okay. And is that your client?
he is, Your Honor, and he's accepting the offer of the state, and that's a negotiated plea.
Okay, Mr. Grant Schooler is positions 19 and 20, 23 CR 7751C and 23 CR 7752C. Mr. Schooler, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Michael McLean. Mr. Schooler, have you spoken with Mr. McLean?
I have.
And has he shown you, and are you aware of the 2 misdemeanor charges against you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so these are 2 misdemeanor charges. The case ending in 7751C is from August 8th, 2023. And the second incident is from August 18th, 2023, involving the same and similar offenses. Mr. Schooler, please raise your right hand to address this plea offer. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Pope, we will refer to the proposed programs as SDET and MHET. What is the recommendation for both cases?
On the case ending in 51C, 12 months to serve 180 days, credit for 14 days time served, or credit for 14 days served. SDET, MHET, no further contact with the victim, Stormy Israel. And that's STORMIEISREAL. Stay away from the 300 block of 6th Street in Atlanta, Fulton County, Georgia. On the case ending in 52C, 12 months probation, no further contact with Stormy Israel. Stay away from the 300 block of 6th Street, Atlanta, Fulton County, Georgia, and to run consecutive to 23 CR 00751C.
Mr. McLean, do you stipulate to the factual basis and ID and venue and ID, and does your client accept these terms?
We do so stipulate to those 3 elements, Your Honor, and he does accept those terms. Those are the terms he expected to hear on the Zoom today.
Mr. Schooler, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
I have.
And do you understand that you'll be agreeing to be on probation for up to 2 years upon release?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're required to stay away from the victim, Stormy Israel?
Yes, ma'am.
And to stay away from the entire complex referred to as 300 block on 6th Street, excuse me.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you understand that if you violate any of the conditions of the proposed sentence, or if you are arrested again for anything else, probation is authorized to issue a warrant, have this sentence revoked, have probation revoked, and have you serve out the rest of the 2 years in prison.
Yes, ma'am.
And are you freely, willingly, and voluntarily entering into such an agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with your attorney services?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take this plea offer?
No, Your Honor.
Has it been explained to you that if you decide to plead guilty to these two charges, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial in front of a judge or a jury to be able to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, present any defenses or mitigating factors if you choose to do so, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt? Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you understand that you also give up your right to file an appeal or challenge this sentence in a higher court?
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you plead to the two misdemeanor offenses listed in the cases I've listed?
Guilty.
I accept your guilty plea. This is a global sentence for both charges. It is going to be 12 for the first charge is going to from August 8, 2023. It's going to be 12 months to serve 180 days, credit for time served 14 days. You'll be serving out the remainder of the 180 days at the Fulton County Jail. Upon release, you must report to probation at the first available business day, which will be a Monday, a Tuesday, or Thursday. Probation is located at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While you're on probation, you will report every month. You will pay probation fees every month. You will complete a program that we refer to as an SDET, which you must begin within 60 days of starting probation, and an MHET, which you must also begin within 60 days of starting probation. At all times, you are to have no contact with Stormy Israel and stay away from 300 blocks of 6th Street, Atlanta, Georgia. For the second case ending in 7752C, same conditions apply, but your 12 months probation will be consecutive to the first case. So in other words, after you finished your additional time at jail, you will be in custody for up to 2 years. You'll be on probation for up to 2 years.
All
Do you
right.
understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yep, hold on. Okay. Your Honor, if I might mute for just a moment, I would, I just need about
Who is that? Jail court iPhone. Who is that?
We have position number 10.
Is Miss Abden ready?
Yes, she's ready. Excuse me, she's ready.
Okay.
Position 10.
do it again.
Yeah.
It needs to- Same thing.
They're on the jail court's acting.
Are you, the gentleman at jail court iPhone, are you Dominic Odo?
Yes, ma'am.
Your case number is 19 CR 002786G, in which you're accused of simple battery family violence. Mr. Hodo, I'd like to remind you that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Ms. Abden. Do you see your attorney, Rachel Abden, on the screen at courtroom 2?
Wave again.
Yeah.
Do you see her?
Yes.
Position is position 10. Yeah, all right. Ms. Abden, with regards to position 10, this is going to be a negotiated plea. Is that correct?
Your Honor, it was supposed to be a negotiated plea, but we still need to, it's gonna be non-negotiated due to the stay away provision.
All right, non-negotiated. All right. So, Mr. Hodo, for purposes of the plea, could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
All right. The prosecutor, Mr. Pierre Thomas, is going to let me know what is the or is it going to be Ms. Pope? Ms. Pope? Is that
It's
you?
me, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Pierre Thomas is going to let me know what is the recommended sentence if you decide to plead guilty. Your attorney is going to give me an alternative recommendation. I am going to consider the circumstances of the case, your criminal history record, if any, and any arguments presented by counsel in order to make a decision as to whether I'm going to accept the prosecutor's recommendation or the defense. I also have the option of not selecting either recommendation and having this case arraigned and set for trial. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
I will let you know my decision before you decide to move forward with the plea. Mr. Pierre Thomas, this is one count of simple battery family violence from May 10th, 2017. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the recommendation from the state is, good morning, first of all, but the recommendation from the state is that the defendant serve 12 months in jail, 12 months on probation, 32 days in custody, credit for the 16 days that he's already served, for the balance to be probated, for him to serve or complete 40 hours of community service, to complete a family violence intervention program, to have no firearms, and to have no further contact with Shaquanta, SHAQWANTA, Stallings, STALLINGS, and a stay away from the 237 Richmond Road Northwest, Atlanta, Georgia location. I think that the differentiation between the negotiated and non-negotiated plea, as Ms. Abner has already said, is the stay away provision. And so I do believe that the victim is on, so if we can sound for her, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Shaquanta Stallings, are you present? Shaquanta Stallings? All right. Anything else, Mr. Pierre Thomas?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Abden, what is the state's recommendation? What's the defense's recommendation?
Defense has no objection to the recommendation as is, except for the stay away provision.
The what provision? I'm sorry?
Stay away.
All right, what is the argument for that?
So I spoke with Vicky Hodo, who's on the line. That is my client's mother. My client's mother and my client live at this address. And I also spoke with the complaining witness, Ms. Stallings, yesterday on the phone. I sent her the Zoom link. She was supposed to appear on Zoom, but I don't see her here. She confirmed that she does not reside at this location. And also his mother confirmed that she does not reside at this location. As this incident did occur in 2017, Your Honor, I am requesting that my client be allowed to return home if he is released.
What kind of location is this? Is this a rental property?
I didn't get into that, but it's my understanding that it's their home where they've lived for some time, at least since 2017.
And the mother and the Shaquanta Stallings does not live there. Is that your understanding?
Yes, Your Honor. I spoke with her over the phone last night and she confirmed that.
Mr. Pierre Thomas, do you have any reason to believe that Shaquanta Stallings still lives there?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe she was going to be on today, so I neglected to mention that, but it appears that our victim witness advocate spoke with her and she confirmed that she does live at 237 Richardson Road. And so that is the reason for the non-negotiated plea, Your Honor.
And ASG Thomas, are you sure that they spoke with Ms. Stallings and not Ms. Hodo? Because she was also, she was the one who called the police, according to the warrant affidavit. So I just want to confirm she does live there, but the complaining witness does not.
It says Ms. Stallings, but one moment.
Thank you.
And the alternative, I can do a one-time visit for the officer to verify that Ms. Shaquanta Stallings does not live there. And if the officer is satisfied, Mr. Hodo can return to the property. Of course, if probation ever discovers that Shaquanta Stallings is living there during the course of his probation, it can be revoked and he spend out the rest of the year in prison. Mr. Pierre Thomas, do you have any objection to that plan?
One moment, Your Honor. I'm conferring with victim witness.
Okay.
And Your Honor, we wouldn't object to that. As I've stated, I spoke with her. It's my understanding she does not reside there. So we could do that if Your Honor wants to proceed that way.
Your Honor, yes, the state will consent.
All right. And Ms. Abden, do you stipulate the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hodo, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yeah, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
And is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take this plea offer today?
No, ma'am.
Have it been explained to you that if you plead guilty to the simple battery family violence, that you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial in front of a judge or a jury, to be able to have the assistance of counsel, to attend court, challenge the evidence brought against you, present any defenses or mitigating factors if you choose to do so, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
All right, Miss Vicky Hodo, please unmute and start your video. Miss Vicky Hodo, please unmute and start your video.
Yes, this is Vicky Hodo.
Please raise your right hand. Okay, put your finger away from the screen. Put your finger away from the screen. Right. Raise your right hand. Do you
Okay.
solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Does Shaquanta Stallings live at 237 Richardson Road in Northwest Atlanta, Georgia?
No.
And what is the location? What's the address of the location where you are?
237 Richardson Road.
Okay, and
Atlanta,
Ms. Stallings does not live there. Is that correct?
No. No.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Hodo, how do you plead to one count of simple battery family violence? Mr. Hodo, how do you plead to one count family violence? Simple
Plead.
battery?
Yes.
Repeat? Repeat?
Plead guilty.
Thank you. Your sentence is 12 months to serve 32 days, credit for time served 16 days. The remainder of the time you'll be on probation. Does he have any other holes at the jail? Ms. Abdon?
I do not see any, Your Honor. No.
He has a hole for Clayton County.
Oh, yeah, that is, yeah, he does.
All right. So if he's got a hold from another jurisdiction, he won't be released for probation. Clayton County will have to come pick him up to address that matter. Mr. Hodo, once you are released from your other hold, do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You must come back to Fulton County and report to probation on the first available business day, which will be a Monday, a Tuesday, or a Thursday. Once you report to probation, you are to report every month. You have to complete 40 hours of voluntary community service at any nonprofit agency that is not a church and not a school. You have to complete a program called the Domestic Violence Intervention Program, and you must begin that program within 30 days of being released. You're not allowed to own any firearms. You have to surrender all firearms that are in your home, in your possession, to the authorities for destruction. You have to have no further contact with Shaquanta Stallings. That means you have to stay 200 yards away from her and not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. You can go back to 237 Richardson Road, Northwest Atlanta. Based on the sworn testimony of Miss Vicky Hood, Mr. Pierre Thomas, I'm going to dispense with the police officer escort. Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. And Mr. Hodo, we are allowing you to return to the Richardson Road location based on the representation to the court that Shaquanta Stallings does not live there. Do you have any questions about your sentence?
No, ma'am.
All right, that concludes the case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Abdon, who is seated next to you?
Mr. Harris, who has a private attorney.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
Go back and I forgot you didn't mention that.
Oh, no, this is a probation revocation.
Terry Harris on probation, position 14.
He told me he's a private attorney.
Go back
That's what
and
he told me.
But he's also 14 on the main count.
No.
Please decide who is seated there and who is the attorney.
Not me.
Terry Harris. Are you Terry Harris?
This is Terry Harris on the probation calendar, position 14.
Okay, Mr.
He's
Harris.
a private attorney.
His attorney is Miss Zakia Watson Cafe. That's conflict counsel.
That's what I'm, sorry.
That's what
We're gonna move on. Position 7, Mr. Day. Come on, Mr. Day. Oh, wait,
And Miss Abden, I think you have a client in the Coney County Jail.
Correct. And Your Honor, for position 7, if we could please hold it till the end of the calendar when the courtroom is clear, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, just 1 second, please.
Do we know what the announcement is?
Yes, it's
Go back and have a seat.
not guilty.
Is there a bond request of some sort?
No,
Okay, thank you.
sorry, I just spoke with them.
I understand.
Your Honor, do we have a moment for an interjected announcement?
Go ahead.
I had emailed Ms. Falk.
Miss who?
Ms. Falk, I had emailed her last night that on the positions, there are 4 positions for Mr. Amir Thomas. And we had made in the announcements, I had used the phrase negotiated plea on the first of the 4 positions, but I used the word plea on the second. And then I looked and saw that it's a global offer. So technically speaking, they're both non-negotiated pleas.
All right, I'll address that when we are taking his case. So
Thank
you're
you.
talking about position 29 through 32, correct?
Right, and did I say, if I said negotiated before, I meant to say non-negotiated on one, and then it turns out, because it's a global, really, it's a non-negotiated on both pleas. Because it
Well,
was.
refresh, yeah, just remind me when we're addressing that case.
Okay,
But can I have someone to address right now, either at the jail court or in courtroom 2?
Position 11, Mr. Infante.
Could you tell me his name again, please?
it's Mr. Infante, I believe his first name is Manuel or Manuel.
Okay. Make
And
sure-
also, Judge, I do have a quick announcement before you proceed with this. Ms. Abden would like a breakout with Okani and her laptop.
I used to.
Oconee County Jail has dropped out of the Zoom. Ms. Strong, do you know when they're coming back in?
No, ma'am, no one's in the waiting room now, but I'll keep looking.
Okay. Ms. Acton, they've dropped out the Zoom, so I'm moving on to Manuel Luis Infante. Mr. Infante, my name is Judge Lal. Are you able to understand and comprehend English?
Yes, yes.
Okay, your case is 17 CR 139255Y. You have traffic-related charges stemming from a July 28, 2015 incident. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. McLean. With regards to this particular case, there are 8 separate charges, and they are failure to maintain lane, failure to keep the vehicle on the right side of the roadway, failure to obey a stop sign, reckless driving, operating a vehicle on a cancel or revoked registration, failure to maintain insurance, suspended or revoked license, and fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer. With regards to these 8 charges, this is going to be a negotiated plea. So please raise your right hand for purposes of the plea. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Pierre Thomas, a bunch are being null pros or merged. Let's go through those first. Count 1 is null pros.
That is correct, Your Honor. That is failure to maintain lane.
Okay. Count 3 and 4 merge with count
Merge
8.
with count 8, fleeing and attempting to elude. So the failure to obey stop sign and the reckless driving will merge with fleeing and attempting to elude, Your Honor.
All right. Count 5 is null pros, the suspended registration.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And then count 6 is, okay, count 7 is good. And count 7, suspended or revoked license will be consecutive to count 8. Is that
That is
correct?
correct, Your Honor.
All right, got it all. All right. Go ahead, sir. What's your recommendation with regards to count 2 and count 6?
Your Honor,
7 and 8.
The recommendation from the state as it relates to count 2, which appears to be vehicle to drive on right side of the roadway. It's 12 months probation for the defendant to pay a $265 fine. That is concurrent with count 8. For count 6, failure to maintain insurance, that appears to be 12 months probation for the defendant to pay a $500 fine. That is also concurrent with count 8. For count 7, that is suspended or revoked license. That is a 12 months probation for the defendant to pay a $500 fine. That is consecutive to count 8. And last and finally, on count 8, which is fleeing and attempting to elude a police officer, the recommendation from the state is 12 months probation for the defendant to serve 34 days in custody, credit for the 17 days that he's already served in custody, balance probated, and to pay a $1,000 fine. So, Your Honor, in totality, that is 12 months probation to serve 34 days, credit for the 17 days that he's already served, for the balance to be probated, and for him to pay a total fine in the amount of $2,365, Your Honor.
Will probation go non-reporting after he's paid off the fine?
Given the nature of these charges, the state would object to that. I think that it's sufficient for him. And let me double check his history. It does appear that he has had a previous, and when I say previous, I mean in 2023, fleeing and attempting to elude as a felony in Gwinnett, to which he was sentenced to serve 1 year of confinement. And so I think that he has a history of these type of charges. And so the state would object to the balance of probation being suspended or being anything other than reporting.
Okay. Mr. McLean?
On that particular point, we were just simply putting it up as a negotiated plea, but on that particular point, the court in its discretion might want to cap the part that would be non-reporting and the part that would be required reporting, because it is 24 months probation here.
And if I could just make another point, Your Honor, in addition to that, a charge that we chose to move forward with is the driving while license suspended or revoked. He has a 2016 conviction for that. He has a 2019 conviction for that, in addition to DUI and other as another traffic related offense. He also has a 2014 arrest for fleeing and attempting to elude. So I just think that it's not unreasonable in situations like this to require him to report and to be on probation for the total of 24 months.
Okay.
And Your Honor, because it is $2,365 totals in fine, it might be appropriate, if it's going to be 24 months of reporting, that's going to add up to a few dollars shy of $1,200 in addition to that. So if he could have several of the months with a fee waived, then JCS would still be able to be paid in order to supervise, yet it would help them financially some.
The state understands the argument and does not disagree with that and consents to that, actually, Your Honor.
All right. Couple of questions. He was convicted in Gwinnett County. When does his probation commence with Gwinnett County?
I don't believe that it was reflected on the GCIC. I can double check the conviction date, however.
Ms. Tyson, would you have that information? This is regarding position 11.
Give me a moment. Let me check, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, he does wish to volunteer the answer to the question.
He wishes what?
He knows the answer to the question being asked. He
No.
wishes to volunteer.
Time in any time. I'm just wondering, when was he convicted and when does probation begin in Gwinnett County?
I received no probation. I just received a straight year, ma'am.
So you have to serve out a year?
Yeah, I've already completed it. I was paroled out, and my last parole date is January 18th of next year.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct, Your Honor. It was just a straight 1 year confinement. He doesn't have probation attached to this case.
All right. So is he being sent back to prison to finish out the year?
No, ma'am.
No,
So
it's
he's
not.
done.
It's paroled until January something of what, 2024?
January 18th of 2024.
Okay, all right. With regards to probation, Mr. Infante has got a very significant history with driving without licenses and also failure to comply with the law, and also a significant history of trying to get away from the law when there is a imminent chance that he may be detained and having to face new charges. Given this, I think that the monitoring of up to 2 years constant probation is mandatory for someone with Mr. Infante's driving history. I'm glad that you've completed your obligations with Gwinnett County, but now it's time to face the music with Fulton County. And with regards to Fulton County, you are going to be on probation for up to 2 years. You're going to be reporting to probation, and there's going to be absolutely no driving. So that's going to be the recommendation of the court. Would you like to proceed with the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. McLean?
Yes, Your Honor. So if it would be possible to waive
I'm going to waive up to 4 months of probation fees. Then he needs to get cracking and get a job and start paying his fees.
Very good, Your Honor. Thank you.
You know, it's always called deferred gratification. So, all right. So, Mr. Infante, you've already been sworn, and Mr. McLean, you stipulate to the factual basis, venue and ID for the 4 charges in this case.
Yes, Your Honor, we do so stipulate, and this is what he expected to hear for the offer, and he does accept it.
Mr. Infante, have you consumed any alcohol or medicine recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney services?
Yes, ma'am.
Is anyone forcing you to take this plea offer today?
No, ma'am.
And are you entering this plea freely, willingly, and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am.
And has it been explained to you that if you decide to plead guilty to these charges, that your license will be suspended?
Yes,
Again.
ma'am.
And
Yes.
has it been explained to you that in pleading guilty to these charges, that you'll be giving up your right to go back to court and have a trial, have the assistance of counsel to confront your accusers, to be able to challenge the evidence brought against you, present any defenses or mitigating factors if you choose to do so, and have the state try to prove all these charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand there's no right to appeal. This will be the final decision of the court.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to 1 count of failure to operate a vehicle on the right side of the roadway, failure to maintain insurance, operating a vehicle on a suspended or revoked license, and fleeing and attempting to elude a police officer?
Guilty.
All right. On okay. I will try to do this so that it doesn't sound confusing. Okay. All right. On the fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer, it's going to be 12 months to serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days, balance probated. Once he's released from jail, he must report to probation at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta, and that report date is next Tuesday before 3 p.m.
Ma'am?
Hang on.
Your Honor, he does have a hold for Forsyth County.
Oh, okay. So then he will report to probation at the first available business day on Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday after he has resolved all holds.
Yes, ma'am.
While he's reporting to probation for the fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer, the fine's $1,000. On the suspended revoked license, the sentence is 12 months probation, a $500 fine, and that is going to be consecutive to count 8. On the failure to maintain insurance, that's going to be 12 months probation, a $500 fine, concurrent to count 8. And on count 2 is going to be 12 months probation, a $265 fine, concurrent to count 8. In total, sir, your probation is 24 months, less 34 days. In which you would have to pay a fine of $2,365. I will waive your probation fees for the first 4 full months. And after that, you'll need to start paying probation fees.
Okay.
Now, you report to probation every month. There's no termination, there's no non-reporting. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And no driving while you are on active probation.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jail Court iPhone, who do you have, please?
We have position number, hold on one second. Position number 2, I'm sorry. Position number 2, Anthony Boggs.
Ms. Abdon, is she available?
Yes, Your Honor, sorry.
That's okay. This is Anthony Boggs, accused of 7 charges stemming from a traffic-related matter on December 5th, 2023. Mr. Boggs is accused of driving under the influence of alcohol, driving while license suspended or revoked, operating a vehicle while in possession of an open alcohol container,
Your Honor,
expired.
I believe it was Bolton.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was Boggs. Is this Anthony Boggs?
Yeah.
Oh,
B-O-G-G-S? Is that your last name?
never
Yeah.
mind. Yeah, continue. Sorry.
Ms. Abdon, do you have Boggs?
I do.
Okay. Anthony Boggs' accusation number is 23 CR 0077428. Just to reiterate, DUI, less safe, driving while license suspended, possession of open alcohol container, expired or no license plate, seatbelt violation, giving false information, and DUI under the influence of alcohol per se. With regards to these charges, Mr. Boggs, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is going to be Ms. Rachel Abdon. Do you see her on the Zoom? Mr. Boggs, do you see her on the Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay. Counts 4, 5, and 6 are going to be null pros. Count 1 merges with count 7, the DUI per se. And so that leaves us with 2, 3, and 7, 3 counts. Is that correct, Mr. Thomas?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, what's the state's for, before we begin, Mr. Boggs, may I place you under oath for purposes of your plea? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Mr. Pierre Thomas?
Your Honor, the recommendation from the state is on count 2, which appears to be driving while license suspended or revoked, 12 months probation for the defendant to pay a fine in the amount of $1,200. That is to be consecutive with count 7. In count 7 being the driving under the influence of alcohol per se. On count 3, the recommendation is for the defendant to serve 12 months probation and pay a $200 fine. That is to be concurrent with count 7. And lastly, Your Honor, on count 7, driving under the influence of alcohol per se, the recommendation is that the defendant is to serve 12 months probation, to serve 30 days in custody, credit for the 15 days that he's already served in custody, which looks like it appeared to have begun on December 5th, 2023, for the balance to be probated, for him to complete alcohol and drug evaluation and treatment as necessary, to complete a risk reduction course, to pay a $600 fine, to complete 240 hours of community service, and to complete 1 victim impact panel. So in totality, Your Honor, the recommendation as a whole is for the defendant to serve 24 months on probation, 30 days in custody, credit for the 15 days that he served, for the balance to be probated, to complete a ADET, a risk reduction program, pay a $2,000 fine, complete 240 hours of community service, and to complete 1 victim impact panel.
Thank you. Ms. Abdon, do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID for counts 2, 3, and 7? And does your client accept these terms?
Yes to both, Your Honor.
Mr. Boggs, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol?
No. You didn't try to find it.
You need to speak up and speak up loudly.
No.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
Is anyone forcing you or inducing you to plead guilty today?
No.
And has it been explained to you that if you decide to plead guilty to these charges, not only will your license be suspended, but that you also have to give up your right to a trial? You would not be able to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you in a court of law, have the state try to prove the original charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
Is that, and do you understand that you will not have a right to appeal? This will be the final decision of the court.
Yes.
How do you plead to one count of driving under the influence of alcohol per se, operating a vehicle with an open alcohol container, and driving while license suspended or revoked?
Yes.
Your sentence on the DUI alcohol per se is going to be 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days. You'll report to probation at your first available business day. Do you have any other holds at the jail?
Excuse me.
Does he have any holds, Ms. Abden?
No, Your Honor.
So he will report to probation next Tuesday. No, let's make it next Thursday, which is the 28th. He'll report to probation next Thursday, December 28th, before 3 p.m. While on probation, he will complete an alcohol and drug evaluation and submit himself to treatment as required at his expense, complete a risk reduction program, and complete one victim impact panel. The ADET, the risk reduction, and the victim impact panel must be completed within 120 days of reporting to probation. He will also pay a $600 fine and complete 240 hours of voluntary community service at any nonprofit agency that is not a church and not a school. With regards to the charge of driving while with the possession of an open alcohol container, that's a concurrent sentence of 12 months probation with an additional fine of $200, and that's concurrent to the DUI charge. With regards to driving while license suspended or revoked, that sentence is going to be 12 months probation consecutive to the DUI conviction, and that will be an additional $1,200 fine. Is that including surcharges, Mr. Pierre Thomas?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, so how do you come up with $1,200 fine for driving while license suspended or revoked?
One moment, Your Honor.
I think it's 1,000. Then plus the
I
600.
thought when you said, does that include surcharge? The $1,200 does not include the surcharge. I thought you meant, will he be
200.
responsible for paying the court fines and fees?
Okay, yeah. Let me just amend that to $1,000 fine. That's the maximum I can do. Then surcharges and fees are on top of that. Excuse me. So for the driving while license suspended or revoked, that's consecutive 12 months probation, additional $1,000 fine, consecutive probation to count 7, which means that in total, Mr. Boggs is going to be on probation up to 24 months, credit for 30 days. He'll be doing all these conditions. His total fine is $1,800 plus court costs and surcharges. And he's already been advised on what programs he must complete within 120 days while on probation. Any questions, Mr. Boggs?
No.
Right. The other thing is no driving while you're on active probation. You're required to report to probation every month until this matter is resolved. Do you understand, sir?
I understand.
All right. Thank you.
Next, we have positions 22 and 23. Mr. Sims. Thank you.
Any chance that we could get to Mr. Melnick's client also and to Miss McLeod client as well?
What's the name, Judge? What's the
Mr.
name?
Melnick, I believe, was Darren Williams. Is that correct?
Courtney Williams, Judge, on
Tom
the,
Courtney Williams.
We got Courtney Williams. We have Courtney Williams right here.
Okay. All right, this is Melvin Sims, position 22 and 23. And that is negotiated plea and null frost on 23. Okay. Mr. Melvin Sims, you have charged with simple battery in 23 CR 2706Y. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Michael McLean. You have a second case, which is a bench warrant for failure to appear, 23 FTA 1136. Please raise your right hand for purposes of the plea. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you tell me your name again, please?
Melvin Sims.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Pope, what's the recommendation for Mr. Sims?
12 months probation, served 40 days, credit for time served for 20 days from 9/29/22 to 10/5/22, and from 12/7/23, balance probated, ADET. No further contact with Latoya Butler and stay away from 2280 Campbellton Road, apartment 508. 6-week anger management and 40 hours community service.
Position 22 and 23. Okay. Mr. McLean, will you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID for this charge? And does your client accept the terms?
We do so stipulate he does accept those terms.
Mr. Sims, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, Your Honor.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
I like the way he looked at you, Mr. McLean. You're absolutely sure about that, right?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Sims, was anyone forcing you to plead guilty today?
No, Your Honor.
And has it been explained to you that if you plead guilty to this charge, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial, to be able to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, present any defenses if you choose to do so, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you plead to one count of simple battery?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Sentence is 12 months to be served on, to serve 40 days, credit for time served 20 days. Your jail time for this case is concluded. If you have no other holds, you report to probation next Thursday. Do you have any holds, Mr. McLean? Does he?
Let's see, Your Honor, I marked that little green tab. No, Your Honor, this is the only thing on his booking sheet. It's one line of failure to appear for this charge.
In that case, then you report to probation next Thursday before 3 p.m. at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While on probation, you will complete an alcohol and drug evaluation and a 6-week anger management class. Those must be done within 120 days of being on probation. After that, you have the rest of probation time to complete 40 hours of community service at any nonprofit agency that's not a church or a school. You are to stay away from 2280 Campbellton Road, the entire apartment complex, including apartment 508. And you have to have no contact with Latoya Butler. You have to stay 200 yards away from Ms. Butler and not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. The bench warrant matter will be null prost. Thank you.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
All right, jail court iPhone, who do we have?
We have on the probation calendar, 19 and 20, Mr. Courtney Williams.
Mr. Melnick?
Good morning, Judge.
All right. This is State versus Courtney Quantavious Williams. Mr. Williams, my name is Judge Law, and you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about your cases, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Jonathan Melnick. Do you see him on the screen?
You will find a name there.
You need to speak up, sir. Ms. McLean, could you mute your screen, please?
We
Thank
mute?
you.
Thank you.
All right, I think he said yes. All right. Mr. Williams, this is going to be a probation revocation matter. I think the first one we're addressing this morning. So Officer Allison, good morning.
Good morning.
May I place you under oath?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Why are we seeking a revocation in this case, and what's the state's recommendation?
Mr. Williams failed to pay probation supervision fees in total of $157, victim crime funds in total of $36. He did not complete domestic violence intervention program. He did not appear to a prior revocation hearing on October 30th, 2023. And he failed to obtain the law by committing a new offense of reckless driving, speeding, DUI, driving with license suspended or revoked, driving, fleeing, and attempting to elude on December 8th in Fulton County. He has 173 days remaining on his case. Probation is recommending to revoke the balance.
All right. Mr. Melnick?
Judge, we are denying the allegations with regard to the new criminal offense. He still has time remaining on probation to complete the other special terms and conditions of probation, particularly the Family Violence Intervention Program. I believe he has, I don't have it right here in front of me, but I believe he has at least 6 months remaining on probation. So I would ask that he be given credit for the 11 days that he has served in custody and be reinstated to probation.
Your Honor, he does not have enough time to complete that domestic violence intervention program. He has about 5 months and some days.
Why didn't he attend the last probation revocation matter?
Mr. Williams, did you receive notice for the last probation revocation hearing? No?
And why did he not report?
So I think that the last reporting was in October, is that correct?
Yes. I reported.
Let me ask Officer Allison, when was his last report date?
So it noted from his officer that he actually reported on November 6th, but he ended up leaving out the door after hearing that he has a warrant out for his arrest.
And what was the prior report date?
The prior report date was, let me scroll down. October 5th was his last report date, and that's when he was served with the notice.
Okay.
Judge, Mr. Williams has gainful employment waiting for him upon his release. I think that he can complete the majority of the Family Violence Intervention Program. This is, as far as I know, this is his first violation. I would ask that you reinstate him to probation.
I'm accepting the state's recommendation. I'm revoking his probation, giving him credit for 11 days. He's going to serve out the rest of the 173 days at the Fulton County Jail. Once he's completed that, he will complete all his obligations for this case. Thank you.
That was 173 days.
Mm-hmm. Less 11 days. Thank you, Mr. Melnick. Jonathan Melnick.
Next we have position number 4.
On probation revocation, or who do we have? What's his name?
Last name Boulay.
Repeat the name.
Last name Boulay.
Boulay on the SAP calendar. Okay. Ms. Abden, that's your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is Marcavius Dejan Boulay, 23 CR 7736Y, accused of battery from December 5th, 2023. Mr. Boulay, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Rachel Abden. Ms. Abden, are we still proceeding with an arraignment and a bond modification request?
Yes, Your Honor, and we can waive the reading of the accusation.
All right, Mr. Boulay, you've been accused of a misdemeanor offense of battery. Upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for trial. At the time of the trial, the prosecutor would have the burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. If the state prevails, you could be convicted of this offense and sentenced to up to a year in jail and up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, all right, I'm going to repeat myself again. Please listen carefully. Upon your entry of a not guilty plea. Now,
Guilty, well, give me guilty 12-month probation and 45 days. I'm not trying to go to trial.
Mr. Boulay, please exercise right to remain silent as we discussed. I'm going to request for a signature bond through the jail and that you be released to the Gwinnett County hold. So please give me the opportunity to do that.
as I was saying, upon your entry of a not guilty plea to the charge of battery, your case will be scheduled for trial. At the time of the trial, the prosecutor would have the complete burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt and overcome your legal presumption of innocence. If you are convicted of this offense, you could face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine. Jail court iPhone, please unmute. Jail court iPhone, please unmute. Given the information I've provided you, Mr. Boulay, how do you plead to the one count of battery?
How do I plead?
Yes, sir. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Ms. Abdon, apparently your client is pleading guilty to the offense. Shall I sentence him to up to a year in prison?
No, Your Honor. I spoke with him yesterday, as I stated a moment ago. It's my understanding that he would like to have you reconsider bond as he did not agree with the state's offer and would like the opportunity to have this reset to a trial calendar and give me the opportunity to argue bond.
So your recommendation to him is to plead not guilty?
I did not recommend anything. That was our conversation yesterday.
Okay. So, Mr. Boulay, apparently your attorney recommended to you that they are ready to proceed to trial and that she's seeking a bond modification. Did you want?
He said it was 12. She's going to negotiate 12. What? A year on probation.
Your Honor, would it be possible for me to
45 days.
breakout room?
That's what I'm saying. You switching up when I don't.
Okay, I don't know what conversation you had with your attorney, so I recommend that you have another round
talk
of
about this
talking with her.
again.
And jail court iPhone, he'll need to speak to his attorney, so I can take the next case. Courtroom 2.
I need to know what's going on. What's going on?
Yeah, your attorney is going to speak to you. Your attorney is going to speak to you.
And Judge Law, I'm logged on my computer, so if I could just be placed in a breakout room with him, that would be
All
great.
right, we will do that. Who do you have seated next to you?
I have position 14, Mr. Kalon McLean. This is your case.
Melissa, you want to hang on to this?
Kalon Reynolds, position 14.
Reynolds, is it called Kalen? How do you pronounce your last name?
That's my first name, pronounced Colin.
Colin Reynolds, is that your name?
Yes, ma'am.
And who's your attorney?
McLean.
Oh, Mr. McLean, okay.
Your Honor, I believe that 14 and 16 are the same.
Okay.
We were told in our paperwork that was sent to us, no paperwork was sent to us on the case because an attorney's name appears in number 16.
That's what I noted. Okay. Just 1 second, Mr. McLean. Miss Strong, can you place Rachel Abdon and jail court iPhone into a breakout? Jail court iPhone, Miss Abdon needs to speak to Mr. Boulay if he's still in the room.
We brought him back to his cell. He started acting up.
All right, Ms. Abden, they had to put him back in the cell for behavior. Would you like to reset the case?
Yeah, Your Honor, if hold on.
Yeah. Okay. If we could just reset the case to Thursday, SAP, I'll go see him when we're done with court and.
All right, position 4 is reset to December 21st.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. McLean, let's go ahead and confirm Colin Reynolds. I understand position 16, I've got private attorney Shida.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm on the website for the state bar. And I'm trying to look that up. If anybody else is able to.
Yeah. Ms. Strong, can you contact this attorney? Ifaluva Shida, number on Odyssey. Mr. Reynolds, is your attorney Mr. Shida?
SHIDAH.
Yeah, is that your attorney?
That should be.
Yeah, I don't call. I don't have no.
Okay, because that attorney is listed of record for one of your cases, so we need to know if that's your attorney. All right, no response. Can we, yeah, so I can't address Mr. Reynolds unless I know who's representing him.
McLean, who's representing him?
Apparently it's a Miss or Mr. Shida, and I don't know that name, so. If that's
I'm not
somebody-
familiar with that attorney, so we can give him a call and see whether he or she can come on the Zoom. Next case, please. I'll take up jail court iPhone. Who is the jail court iPhone?
We have, on the probation calendar, position 15 and 16.
Okay, Mr. McLean, is that your client?
On the probation calendar, let's see.
Yes, Terry Harris.
Yes, Your Honor.
No, his name is Snelling, Antonio Snelling.
Oh, this is
and
Snelling?
excuse me,
Oh,
15 and 16, Antonio Snelling.
Your Honor, I need to speak to Mr. Snelling, I believe. Is that, Mr. Snelling?
Yes, sir.
I need to talk to you before we proceed. This is a recommendation, Your Honor, for revoking the balance, which is 46 days. In that instance, Your Honor, it may be best to reset this 2 days, today after tomorrow.
All right. Mr. Snelling, your attorney is recommending that we address your case this Thursday instead of today.
Your Honor, I'm trying to see if you supposed to talk to me. I've been locked up
Okay,
3 months.
then we will address your case. Then we will address your case. Ms. Courtroom 2, jail court, Mr. Snelling, you have to wait until you get a chance to speak to attorney Michael McLean. And so we put that on hold. If we address a revocation right now without your attorneys, talking to your attorney, it's just going to be very difficult for you. So let's give you a chance to speak to your attorney. Oh, they really don't want to talk to you, Mr. McLean. Who do you have next to you, Mr. McLean?
This is Mr. White. He's on the probation calendar, position 17.
Thank you. I have Tony O'Neill White. Is that correct?
Correct.
Tony O'Neill White is is convicted of simple battery in case 23 CR 917F. He's got a probation violation matter 23 PV 1698. Mr. White, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. Mr. Michael McLean will be representing you. Officer Allison, you're already under oath. What's the reason for the revocation and your recommendation?
Mr. White failed to report as directed on September 11th, 2023, September 21st, 2023, and October 10th, 2023. He failed to complete 6 weeks of anger management He has 90 days remaining on his case. Probation is recommending to revoke the balance.
And do we know how many days he's already been in custody?
I have 16 on my
Okay.
for my calculations.
All right, Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, on September 11th, September 21st, and October the 10th, he was incarcerated. He was released 8 days later than the last named date. He was released on 10/18 of 23. I believe the probation warrant was taken out in November. What he's at fault for, Your Honor, and he admits it, he says, you know, I should have figured out how to find JCS as soon as they released me on October the 18th, so I could get going on everything. And Your Honor, in that he failed, and he is remorseful and throws himself on the mercy of the court. He states that if the court gives him a second chance to do those 6 anger management classes, he will not fail.
Just 1 second, please. We had a parole violation in 2021. Does he have a hold at the present time?
No, Your Honor, I don't believe he has a hold at this time. My notation, although I don't have one of those sheets on me, when I make the notation in jail on this only, that means this is a one-liner on that booking sheet.
And how does he plan to complete the 6 anger management classes when he's currently unemployed and homeless?
Your Honor, he is really going to hustle and find a job. There are temporary agencies around, and he's determined.
All right. I'm going to release him on probation. This will be marked as a probation violation. I'm going to release him on probation. He will report to probation on Monday before 3 p.m. Oh, excuse me, not Monday. On Thursday, next Thursday. Oh no, today's Tuesday, right? I'm so sorry. I'm getting thrown off by the calendar. He'll report to probation on Thursday, this coming Thursday, the 21st of December. So he'll report this Thursday before 3 p.m. And he needs to report to probation twice a month, not once a month, twice a month. And he needs to complete the 6 weeks of anger management classes within the next 60 days.
Very good, Your Honor. Thank you.
So he must enroll in those classes within the next 60 days, report to probation twice a month, and complete those 6 weeks of anger management classes. Mr. White, if you fail to report, or if you fail to start and show enrollment in classes within the next 60 days, let me think. People, no, that won't even do it. Will he have time?
There are 90 days remaining here, so.
Yeah, but if he begins his first class on the 61st day, that's not going to give him time to finish.
Right, he'd have to start quicker than that, because 90 days, about.
And he must enroll in the classes within the next 30 days. That's why I'm asking, how is he going to do that if he doesn't have a job and he's residentially challenged?
He's planning on getting a job within the first week that he gets out. He's going to go to one of these temporary agencies.
And if he doesn't enroll within the next 30 days, he's back in jail?
Basically, that's the challenge. That's correct. Can you do it?
All right, Officer Allison, if he doesn't show proof of enrollment in 6 weeks of anger management classes, the probation is authorized to issue another warrant, and that tolls his time.
Okay.
Thank you.
They'll tell you, when you go there, they'll tell you.
Come on, Mr. Ham.
Jail court iPhone, who do we have? Oh,
On a
sorry.
probation. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
who's on? I'm sorry, give me the name.
No, on the probation calendars, number 4 through 9, Antonio De Jesus.
Okay. And is that your client, Mr. McLean? Antonio De Jesus?
No, Your Honor, that's gonna be, Ms. Abden.
Abden.
Ms. Abden.
She's on the phone.
Yep.
She's on the phone, Judge.
Okay, jail court iPhone, we're gonna hold until his attorney is available, Ms. Abden. Norman Gibson. Norman Gibson.
That's also.
That's also for Miss Abden, and
She's still on the phone.
Yeah.
Okay, Norman Gibson, please hold until your attorney is available.
this is
Jail court iPhone, who do we have next?
Positions 5 and 6, Cantu.
That's Miss Abden's client as well.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. No, that's Miss McLeod. That's Miss McLeod. Sorry. All right. I thought that was, thank you, Miss McLeod. Let me go to your case. Oop. Miss McLeod, what are we doing for Mr. Cantu Davila?
Your Honor, there is a plea offer on the table, but I haven't had the opportunity to discuss it with my client. So I would like to speak to him about it to see whether or not he's inclined to accept the state's offer. In fact, since we're on the record right now, if the state would put its offer on his outstanding cases on the record, then I can discuss it with him and get back with the court.
All right, Mr. Cantu Davila, your case numbers are 23 CR 7467D, in which you're accused of criminal trespass and misdemeanor possession of marijuana. On case 23 CR 7610D, you're accused of criminal trespass, simple battery, and additional count 4 of simple battery, family violence. You've been advised of your right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and your counsel is Ms. Maureen McLeod. Mr. Pierre Thomas, what's the plea recommendation for Mr. Cantu Davila?
Your Honor, the plea recommendation for the case ending in 7610D is for count 1, which appears to be criminal trespass, 12 months probation, concurrent to be served concurrent with count 3, which is battery. For count 2, it merges with count 3, which is battery. Count 2 is simple battery. And for count 4, for count 3, the recommendation is 12 months probation to serve 200 days in custody, credit for the 21 days that he's already served. It appears that that started on November 29, 2023. To stay away from the location of 1371 Northampton Road, to complete 40 hours of community service, to have no further contact with Nathan Scott or Michelle Munoz, M-U-N-O-Z, to complete a family violence intervention program, and to have no firearms. And lastly, Your Honor, for count 4, simple battery, family violence, the recommendation is that he serve 12 months probation for the balance to be probated and for that to be consecutive with count 3. So that is a total of 24 months probation to serve 200 days in custody, credit for the 21 days that he's already served in custody, balance probated, a stay away from 1371 Northampton Road, no further contact with Nathan Scott and Michelle Munoz, the completion of a family violence intervention program, 40 hours community service, and no firearms, Your Honor. For the case ending in 7467D, where he is charged with criminal trespass and possession of marijuana. On count 1, 12 months probation to serve 6 days, credit for the 3 days that he's already served. Looks like that started on November 27, 2023 and ended on November 29, 2023. For the balance to be suspended, for there to be a stay away from the Exxon located at 1105 Holcomb Bridge Road in Roswell, Georgia, and Fulton, Georgia. And then for count 2, for him to serve 12 months probation for that to be concurrent with count 1.
Okay, so can you explain so that Mr. Cantu Davila understands how much more time you are asking for him to spend in jail?
One moment. So it appears that he would not have to serve any additional time on the case ending in 7467D, that is to include the criminal trespass. However, on the case ending in 7610D, because the total recommendation from the state is 200 days to serve, and he's only served 21 days, and I believe the jail is giving 2 for 1, then he would have to serve. I can do the math for you if you'd like.
Please, if you would.
Yes.
About 80 days, 79 to 80 days.
So you
That
would
is-
want him to spend another 80 days in jail. I just wanted to be clear because it makes it easier for me when I'm speaking to him about the plea offer.
Yes.
After the 80 days, then he'll be on probation for up to a year and a half, and then have no contact with Ray and Manuel, SDET, and 40 hours community service.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would just like the opportunity to discuss it with my client. I don't know if there's a breakout room or the jail will call me.
Okay. Ms. Strong, could you please place Ms. Maureen McLeod and Jail Court iPhone in a breakout, please? Jail Court iPhone, you will see a message on your screen to join a breakout. Norman Gibson? Norman Gibson?
Out there in Union City.
Yes, sir. Would you be able to start the video? Okay. Ms. Abdon? Is this your client, Norman Gibson?
She talked to the lady.
Your Honor, that's the sergeant's name over there at South Annex.
That is what now?
That's the sergeant's name at South Annex.
Oh, I'm so sorry. What's okay? I don't mean to put the sergeant in jail, but what's the name of the client there?
It's
Harry Bolton.
Harry Bolton.
position
Okay,
for Your Honor.
thank you. Ms. Abdon, that is your client. Kyra Jawan Bolton. Any chance you've already spoken to him?
I did speak with him. I also spoke with his mother, who's here on the line. We'd like to proceed with not guilty, sent it to a trial calendar.
Okay. Mr. Kyra Jawan Bolton, case is 23 CR 007-907A. He's accused of possession of a pistol or revolver by a person under the age of 18 and misdemeanor possession of marijuana. This stems from a December 11th, 2023 incident. Mr. Bolton, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Ms. Abdon. Mr. Abdon, do you waive a reading of the accusation?
Yes, Your Honor.
You've been accused of these 2 misdemeanor offenses, Mr. Bolton. Upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for trial. At the time of the trial, the prosecutor has the burden to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt and to overcome your legal presumption of innocence. If the state prevails, you could be convicted of 1 or more of these charges and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine for each convicted offense. Given this information, how do you plead? Mr. Bolton, given this information, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
Your case has been arraigned and is going to be further notice for trial. Anything else to address, Ms. Bolton, Ms. Abdon?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, that concludes the case for Mr. Bolton. All right, Mrs. Bolton, please confer with attorney Rachel Abdon as to how his case is going to proceed next.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You're free to go.
Thank you.
All right, jail courts and that, all right. Is that Mr. Reynolds?
Now, this is actually position 8 and 9, Mohammed Ahmed. Mr. Reynolds, Your Honor, I spoke to his attorney. His attorney's in Superior Court, so he's not gonna be able to make it to this court.
All right. Is Mr. Kevin Reynolds? Did he confirm that he's representing Mr. Reynolds?
He said he's not sure, but he believes so. It's supposed to have been an appointment. giving you what he told
You're
me.
just the messenger. Okay. Understood. Thank you, sir. Okay. With regards to, I'm going to let Mr. McLean confer with him and see whether he wants to proceed with the PD's office or whether he wants to proceed with Mr. His attorney, Mr. Shida. Okay. That's 14 and 16, correct. All right. Mohammed Hamid is a case position 8 and 9. Position 8 is 22 CR 2244F, in which he's accused of criminal trespass from April 13th, 2022. And position 9 is a bench warrant for failure to appear in court on December 6, 2023. Mr. Hamid, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Abdon. And Ms. Abdon, how will you be proceeding with Mr. Hamid's cases?
Negotiated plea, Your Honor, and it's my understanding that we're entering the negotiated plea on position 8, and that position 9 will be non-loss.
Mr. Hamid, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the information you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Pierre Thomas, what is the recommendation for Mr. Hamid?
Now, the recommendation for the defendant in this case is for the defendant to serve 34 days in custody. Credit for the time that he's already served, which appears to be 17 days. Looks like from 4/13/2022 to 4/15/2022. And he was rearrested on December 6, 2023. And that the state, as stated, agrees to null pros the failure to appear associated with the case.
So it's 34 days to serve credit for time
17.
to 17 days and balance suspended?
I don't think that there is a balance, Your Honor, at that point. It's not 12 months probation.
Oh, it's not 12 months, so it's just time served. All right. Ms. Abdon, does your client accept these terms, and do you stipulate the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Mr. Hamid, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, Your Honor.
And have you understood the proceedings?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is anyone forcing you to enter a plea of guilty today?
No, Your Honor.
And are you prepared to give up your right to a trial, to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you plead to one count of criminal trespass?
Plead guilty.
Your sentence is to serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days. That concludes your time at the jail. You'll be released within 24 hours unless you have any holds at the jail. Your bench warrant matter is null prost. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. McLeod, are we ready to proceed with Mr. Cantu Davila?
We are, Your Honor.
Okay, this is position 5 and 6. Mr. Cantu Davila, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. And Mr. Pierre Thomas, you've already presented the plea offer. Ms. McLeod, do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID for the case?
Yes, Your Honor. This is going to be a non-negotiated plea.
All right. In that case, the state's already made its recommendation with regards to position 5, which was going to be 12 months to serve 6 days, credit for time served 3 days, balance suspended, and to stay away from the Exxon. And for position 6, it was going to be up to a 24-month probation, the term serving an additional 80 days in jail. After that, he'll be on probation for up to a year and a half, to stay away from 1371 Northampton Road, no contact with Nathan Scott and Michelle Muniz, and FVIP and 40 hours community service, no firearms. And what's the defense's recommendation?
The defense's recommendation is time served and probation of no more than 1 year, Your Honor.
And what's the reason for that?
The reason for that, Your Honor, is that based on the allegations, especially with regard to the family violence, battery family violence, we do not feel that this is not a repeat offense. This is not somebody he's in a relationship with or any such thing, Your Honor. It seems to be, it was just a disagreement among roommates. So I do not believe that the necessity for 200 days, I believe that that is excessive, Your Honor. He's already been in jail now close to a month, certainly several weeks. I know that. So I believe that it is excessive to ask him to spend 2 years essentially on probation and to spend 200 days in jail.
Okay, so you want him to be to serve 42 days, credit for time served 21 days.
Yes, Your Honor.
And balance probated for up to 1 year, concurrent for all charges.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Pierre Thomas?
The state would object. He has quite an extensive history. Of the most concern to the state is a 2022 battery family violence conviction that he received. And so we think that the offer, and he has an open case as well. And so we think that the offer as originally structured was sound and fair.
All right. Ms. Allison, Ms. Tyson, excuse me, Ms. Tyson. Could you give me his GCIC, please?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant has 10 arrest cycles beginning in 2016. Does have a misdemeanor conviction out of Gwinnett County for driving without a license suspended from 2022. It looks like he has the open case is out of Roswell. Arrest date was September 9, 2022, and that was for a criminal trespass and criminal damage to property in the second degree. He has a total of 2 FTAs, which his last arrest was an FTA out of Gwinnett County. Now, arrest date is July 7th, 2023, and he has 1 other FTA from 2022. I don't see any felony convictions.
Right.
Nothing to add, Your Honor.
That last one is a felony conviction. So it looks like 23 SC 186270.
186270.
Yes.
Okay, so it wasn't you said he was convicted of battery family violence in 2022. Which case was that, Mr. Pierre Thomas?
That is correct, Your Honor. That is a 21 CR 006493 E.
004
006493 E. E as an elephant.
Okay. This was from July 11th, 2023. And he pled guilty.
Who was the alleged victim in that case?
Let me see.
Alfonso Moncada Martinez.
And do you know the nature of the relationship between them?
And pull it back up. Other person living in the same household. So I guess he has a history of battering his roommates or whoever the other person living in the same household is. So it's a pattern.
All right.
What I was trying to point out is what I said initially, that he doesn't have it is not an intimate partner situation or even family members per se. He may have had a disagreement with a roommate here and there. It's known to happen, especially when people are living in those kind of circumstances where a lot of people are living together. Sometimes they can have disagreements. And the fact that I'm here representing him suggests that the alleged victims in those other cases they may have well been cross arrest, that sort of thing. I'm just trying to make the court understand that this is not a situation like intimate partner kind of violence.
Understood, Ms. McLeod, but I also do understand that Mr. Cantu de Villa does seem to have these alleged physical altercations with individuals in the same household. And it doesn't matter whether they're intimate or not. The domestic violence statutes encompasses everyone who's living under the same household. And if Mr. Cantu de Villa has a track record of not being able to get along with his roommates without the police being involved, then we have an individual who has presented a very high likelihood to reoffend. So you're asking me to give him basically time served on another conviction of battery, family violence, or simple battery, family violence based on allegations. Not only this, and also not to mitigate the fact that this gentleman seems to be involved with multiple cases. He just pled guilty in a felony case, true to the reduced offense, but that doesn't mitigate the fact that this gentleman has open cases and a very high likelihood to reoffend. So I'm trying to understand the plausible reason of why I should just allow him to not serve additional time in jail, and I don't see it. So with all due respect, this is not a simple misunderstanding. This man has serious misunderstandings, which get the police involved and land him back in jail. So I'm going to go with the state's recommendation, and I need to know, Ms. McLeod, based on that, would your client like to have a trial, which he is completely entitled to have?
No, Your Honor. He says he will accept the state's recommendation.
All right. Mr. Cantu de Villa, I have accepted the state's recommendation that you have to serve the additional 200 days in jail, less the 21 days credit. In addition to being on probation, to do a domestic violence program, as well as doing community service and having no contact with the victims in this case. Is that something that you would like to consider and move forward with?
Yeah.
Okay. You've already, let me go ahead and swear you in. I don't recall if I did. Mr. Cantu de Villa, do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yeah.
Have you consumed any medicine or alcohol?
No.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes. No.
Have you understood your conversations with your attorney?
Yes.
And is there anything that you don't understand at the present time?
No, everything's okay.
Do you understand the court's explanation of why the court is going with the state's recommendation?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you entering a plea of guilty freely, willingly, and voluntarily?
Yes.
So your attorney has explained to you, and I just want to be certain that you understand that in pleading guilty, you will be giving up your right to a trial, to go back to court, to face a judge or a jury, to be able to present to confront your accuser, challenge the witnesses and the evidence brought against you, to present your arguments to a judge or a jury, and also any defenses if you choose to do so, as well as to have the prosecution try to prove the charges in both these cases against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
Do you understand that this will be the final decision? That's no right to appeal.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you still moving forward with the plea freely, willingly, and knowingly?
Yeah.
How do you plead to one count of criminal trespass in the case? Which one was it? In the case 23 CR 7467D, and one count of misdemeanor possession of marijuana?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 6 days, credit for time served 3 days, balance suspended. You cannot return to the Exxon gas station at 1105 Holcomb Bridge Road in Roswell, Georgia. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And on misdemeanor possession of marijuana is 12 months probation. Well, is balance suspended, concurrent with count 1. With regards to your second case in which you're accused of criminal trespass, simple battery, and simple battery family violence. How do you plead to these 4 charges? Excuse me. Let me repeat that. How do you plead to the 3 charges?
Guilty.
Okay. Count 2, simple battery merges with count 3. Count 1, criminal trespass, the sentence is 12 months probation concurrent with count 3. Count 3, battery, is going to be 12 months probation to serve 200 days, credit for time served 21 days. Based on our calculations, you have an additional up to 80 days to serve at the Fulton County Jail. Once you're done with your probation, you will report to probation on the first business day, which will be a Monday, a Tuesday, or a Thursday. And you must report before 3 p.m. at 132 Mitchell Street. You will continue to report to probation every month until all your conditions are completed. The conditions include staying away from 1371 Northampton Road, 40 hours of community service with any nonprofit agency that's not a school or a church, no contact with Nathan Scott and Michelle Muniz, and to complete a domestic violence intervention program. At all times, you're not to possess any firearms. With regards to count 4, the sentence is 12 months probation consecutive to count 3, and same conditions apply. In total, sir, you will be on probation for up to a year and a half after you've completed your jail time, and you'll need to complete your the terms of your probation, which means you report every month. Yes, Ms. McLeod? Ms. McLeod, are you on mute? Yes.
I did not say anything, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were trying to say something. Okay.
No,
Mr. Cantu Davila, do you have any questions about your sentence?
Just a last final. So, it's 80 more days and then a year and a half of probation and 40 hours of community service, right?
It is, 80 more days in jail. You'll be on probation. You need to do the 40 hours of community service, and you must enroll in a domestic violence intervention program. That is a 24-week class program. That takes up to 6 months.
Okay, will do.
And you must report to probation every month for a year and a half.
Okay.
If you get arrested again for anything else, probation can be revoked and you're back in jail to finish out the rest of the sentence.
Okay.
Your Honor, given how much more time he will be in jail, and of course, by the time he gets out, he will be unemployed, would the court consider waiving some of the probation fees?
Let me see his date of birth. He was born in 1997, so he's 26 years old. I will waive probation fees for up to 4 months, but he's hale and hearty and he needs to get a job.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Mr. Cantu Davila. Jail Court iPhone, I'll be back with you shortly. Ms. McLeod, did you have another case?
I do not, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Ms. McLeod. We'll see you later.
You're welcome. And Merry Christmas and
Merry
Happy
Christmas
New
to
Year
you.
and all of that, Your Honor. I don't think I'm going to be seeing anybody anytime.
All right. Well, everyone, Ms. McLeod is going to recluse to hibernation and enjoy holidays. So we will see you when you come back and join us again. Take care. Have a safe season.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Position
Courtroom 2, Ms. Abdon, can I address your client at the Oconee County Jail?
Your Honor, I did not speak with my client. I would need to be placed in a breakout room to discuss the case. No.
Okay, is that individual next to you your client? Because I think he was represented by private counsel.
That's McLean's.
No, this is position 33 and 34. This is Thompson from McLean.
I'm
Okay.
going to address.
I'm sorry, Ms. McLean, I don't mean to interject, but Ms. Abdon, if you can get on your laptop, I'll put you in a breakout with Oconee County Jail.
Perfect, thank you.
All right? Oconee County Jail.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, officer, what's your name, please? I keep calling you the county jail. I'm so sorry.
This is Deputy Matthew Larsey.
Okay, Deputy, are you going to see a message on your screen to join the breakout so that the gentleman can speak to his attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
No
Okay,
problem.
Mr. McLean, I'm so sorry. I was just trying to multitask there. Yes, sir. What are we doing for position 33, Jesse Thompson? 33, 34?
Because the 33-34 position lists Lawrence Silverman, the only thing I can find for Lawrence Silverman as an attorney is someone who's in Jacksonville, who apparently is also practices in Georgia. I have a feeling that occasionally when there's a bond surrender, the lawyer for the company doing the bond surrender ends up being listed as the defense lawyer by mistake. That could be what happened here. I don't know. I'm going to venture forth out on a limb and hope that this is not a conflict situation, Your Honor. And I'm going to ask the court to consider signature bond for him as he pleads not guilty.
All right. And do you waive a reading of the accusations, Mr. McLean?
I'll have to ask him because this was one where the paperwork wasn't sent to us. I don't have a copy of it, but I can easily get it out of the clerk's office or out of Odyssey. But I can ask him if he, I've told him the elements. I haven't told him the date or the name of the, well, we know the name of the alleged victim and we do know the date. And those are going to be the elements that are going to be in the thing I would be waiving the reading of. So that may be sufficient. If I might consult with him for just a minute on
Totally. Mute your screen, sir.
It's going to be the accusation sheet.
Oh, no, Mr. McLean, mute your screen, please.
Can you hear me?
Miss Zakia Watson Cafe.
Yes, Your Honor. I still need to speak to Mr. Harris.
Yeah, Watson Cafe, I sent you the number on the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see it. I'm gonna, I guess, Your Honor, I'm gonna log off and call, and then I will be back to make an announcement on that case. We have an offer from probation.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, we're
Mr.
ready.
McLean, are we ready?
Yes, Your Honor. He feels confident that he understands the charges of the first one I'll not name, and the second one is simple battery. He understands count 1 and count 2. He understands the date of allegation. He understands the alleged name of the victim. So he understands it sufficiently to waive the reading of the accusations themselves.
All right.
He's not guilty and would like to explain the situation of how he missed out on court.
Well, keeping in mind that he had a prior bench warrant in which I ordered him to go back to jail on November 1st, 2021. So let me just arrange the case first. Mr. Jesse John Thompson, you've been advised of your rights. You've been advised of the cases pending before you. And your attorney, Mr. Michael McLean, has presently explained the offenses brought against you, the elements, and upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the cases will be scheduled for trial. At the time of the trial, the prosecution would have the burden to prove all the charges against you, including your failure to appear on October 31st, 2022. With regards to both these cases, once they are scheduled for trial, if the state carries its burden to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt, you could be convicted of one or more of the offenses and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine. for each convicted offense. Given this information, how do you plead?
So I could go to prison over it?
Yes.
Only if the case goes to trial and only if the prosecution proves the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt.
If I might interject, in other words, if there's a jury trial with 6 people and a misdemeanor jury, and if the jury returns a verdict of guilty, then the judge at that trial could sentence you up to 24 months of prison. And if that were the case with good behavior, you could do up to 12 months of actual time.
I'd like to plead not guilty.
Okay. The cases have been arraigned. Okay, so presently, Mr. Thompson is in custody due to another bench warrant. Yes, Mr. McLean, why am I reconsidering this gentleman's failure to appear in court?
Your Honor, he has apparently been here for about 17 days, I believe, something like 17 days. He was in Gwinnett, and he believes that he misunderstood someone's advice, and it had something to do with Roswell, Georgia, and he thought that this case was intertwined, I believe is the verb used, with another case, and that it was taken care of. So his address these days is in Doraville. It's a house. The landlord lives in the bottom part of the house, and we have the address. Your Honor, since 1996, he paints trim on houses, including the gutters and the other trim on a house. He's been in Roswell since 1992. He has an 11th grade education and hails from the Tri-Cities area of Tennessee, which I believe is Kingston, Johnson City, and Bristol. And Your Honor, he is married. His wife is possibly in the hospital right now, and he's very concerned about her. The case is from 2021, so it is 2.5 years old. It's not particularly old, not particularly young as a case. And considering what the charges are, I've explained to him that if he will simply do the method of showing up in person every 2 to 2.5 weeks at the clerk's office and actually using the public computer, which is on the counter, for the purpose of checking your court dates, then you don't rely on mail and you don't rely on phone calls. And if you do that, it's impossible to miss a court date. And that's what he is telling the court that he understands now as the methodology.
All right, Ms. Pope, while waiving sounding on the charges, this is Mr. Thomas's second time around with me on a bench warrant. What's your response?
Your Honor, that's the state's concern, is that he failed to appear, and it was for a jury trial calendar on October 31st, 2022, which is what created the bench warrant in this case. He initially was on count 1 on a $1,000 surety bond, and it didn't ensure his presence. So the state would argue that placing him on a signature bond certainly would not ensure his presence. And for that reason, we would ask that the bond remain as a surety bond.
Ms. McLean, I'm going to reduce the bond to $1,500. It's going to be a surety bond. Original conditions all remain, and the case is further notice for trial. If you'd like to submit a proposed order.
I would rather just take.
1,000 on count 1, 500 on count 2.
If I actually.
Oh, Your Honor, let me, I'm hearing something from my client, and if I might mute for just about 30
Sure,
seconds.
go ahead. While you do that, Ms. Kurt, your attorney is, excuse me, Julie Kurt, good morning. Oh, Ms. Kurt, you're on mute.
Sorry, good morning, Judge. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Your client is Jasmine Smith, and she's probably at the AC/DC location. So they have not joined us yet via Zoom.
Okay.
I see that you want to plead, your client wants to plead not guilty. You can submit a waiver of arraignment if you want, but you probably have to wait for ACDC to chime in order to have the bond reconsidered.
When you say bond reconsidered, was arrested last night at 1 o'clock in the morning.
She was released?
No, she was arrested just last
Okay.
night at 1 o'clock in the morning. Would she already be on for arraignment? I'm a little confused.
Let
We
me
have
see.
arrest date.
Position 24. She was arrested on a failure to appear before Judge Richards. So there was a bench warrant. The failure to appear.
Jacqueline Smith?
Jasmine Janae Smith.
Oh, hold on. Let me
It should be
see. That may
Jasmine.
not be my client. I represent Jacqueline Dolores Smith.
Oh, this is Jasmine Janae Smith. Is that not your client?
I don't believe so. Mine is Jacqueline Dolores Smith. She was arrested August 17th, 1947. I mean, that's her date of birth is August 17th, 1947.
Okay,
Sorry.
I was like, wow, okay.
Small coincidence, but yeah.
Okay,
She was just arrested last night at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Jacqueline, I don't have a Jacqueline Smith. If you have a booking number, I think she may be on the 2 p.m. initial appearance calendar.
That's what they told her daughter, but I'd never heard of a 2 p.m. calendar, so that's why I was scrambling to get on for 11.
So misdemeanor cases now have their first appearance at 2 p.m. every day, Monday through Saturdays.
I did not know that. I'm sorry to bother you, Judge.
So that's quite all right.
Link?
That's quite all
This is
right.
the correct link, though?
This is not the correct link.
Oh.
If you
If she puts her email in the chat, Judge, I'll forward the information over to her for this afternoon's calendar.
all right.
Thank you very much. I will do
If
that
you
right
just
now.
reach out to the host on chat with your email, they will communicate the link to you for the 2 p.m. calendar.
I greatly assist you facilitating this. Thank you, Judge.
All right. We'll see you at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
See you then. Take care.
Mr. McLean. So the bond for your client is $1,500 surety, $1,500. And once he makes it, he'll be released, but he'll need to make sure that he updates the court with his current address at all times, and that he reports to court when summoned and doesn't get arrested again.
Yes,
And
Your
also stay away from the alleged victim.
He does understand that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
this is surety bond. All right, thank you.
I will show up, Your Honor.
Miss Abden, are we ready to proceed?
Yes, I'm sorry, before we proceed, I don't see Miss Cafe where her client is waiting for her call. And she's not even signed on. I think she signed off. And there's no way for us to get in contact with her.
Okay. Miss Grace, can you please email Miss Watson Cafe? We should have an email, and then we will try and see.
Or can you, if they can just send it on the chat, her contact number, that would be great.
Okay. All right, Miss Abden, who is your client at the Oconee County Jail?
Anthony Flores on the probation violation calendar. I believe he might be number 4.
Have a seat, sir.
I just gotta pull it up.
Alexander Flores, is that your name, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and Rachel Abden with the Fulton County Public Defender's Office is representing you. This is a probation revocation matter in which there were 5 charges brought against you. I'm not sure of the disposition, but this is a warrant to revoke your probation in this matter. Officer Allison, you already deemed sworn to or under oath. Could you please let me know what's the state's basis for the revocation and your recommendation?
Yes, Mr. Flores, failed to complete domestic violence intervention program. He did not complete 40 hours of community service and failed to appear to a prior revocation hearing on October 25th, 2023. He has 131 days remaining. Probation is recommending to revoke the balance. He does have 16 days in custody. That is the number I have.
All right, so 40, he did not do 40 hours community service. Did he complete the DBIP?
No, he did not.
And what was his last report date?
I can pull it up for you. October 12th was his last report date in the office.
Repeat that date again?
October 12th was his last report date in the office. That's when he was served for court.
All right. Ms. Abdon?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm requesting that Your Honor consider reinstating his probation and allowing him to complete the Family Violence Intervention Program, the 40 hours of community service. And it's my understanding from my client that he's had some life changes. First of all, he's only had 3 months so far to work on this. He was released from jail on a different matter in August, at the end of August 29th. Yes. And since then, you know, he was unable to complete the requirements because he did not have a job or any funds or any transportation. In November, he got a job. He's not sure if he can go back considering he's been in jail for 16 days, but he's hopeful. And he also has some family assistance with transportation. And he provided a Georgia address in DeKalb. And Your Honor, since it's been just, 3 months to allow him to do this and his circumstances have changed, I'm requesting that he be given an opportunity to complete the requirements.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I think someone's talking in the background. Is that Deputy Francois on the phone?
Sorry.
Okay. So
I'm sorry.
how is he going to complete his 24-week DBIP when he never even started the classes? So that's one problem. Second problem is he doesn't bother to appear at his last revocation hearing.
And Your Honor, yeah, so I did ask him about that. It's okay. He said that he texted the probation officer to let her know that he does not have a means of transportation or money to pay. And he stated that he did not hear back. And I guess I'm just asking Your Honor to take mercy on him, allow him to try to complete these requirements. As I've stated, he's only had 3 months in order to do that. And since then, he's gotten a job and, wants to be compliant. He just was unable to. He didn't have transportation or money before today.
I'm revoking the balance, giving him 16 days. He needs to serve out the rest of the time in jail. So there'll be 131 days, less 16 days, which will be 32 days, which means he has 99 days left at the jail. He will be in custody for up to 50 more days in Fulton County Jail, or he'll be given credit for the time that he's been at the Oconee County Jail. Thank you. So it's revoking 131 days, credit for 16 days, serve out the balance. He just has not done anything in which is plausible for him to complete his obligations within the remaining time.
I understand, Your Honor, but, and I understand that is the court's ruling, but as I've stated, he's only had since August 29th. So I was requesting Your Honor to take that into consideration, but I understand that is the court's ruling.
Is he in Oconee County because of another offense?
No, he was a passenger in a car that got pulled over and there was this warrant out.
Okay. So
Your Honor,
Yes.
this is the deputy from Oconee County. He is just being housed here. He has got no charges with us at all.
Okay, so Fulton County would have to come pick him up.
Yes, ma'am.
Francois, now, let me just confirm.
Yeah.
Francois,
Yes,
this gentleman is at Oconee County Jail on this probation warrant. Would the sheriff's office go and pick him up, or can he be directed to surrender to the Fulton County Jail? Because I just need to know whether the sheriff will go pick him up. Oconee County, where's Oconee County? Isn't that quite far from here?
Yeah.
I'm not sure where that's at.
What city is in Oconee, sir?
We're
Is
in,
that-
it is in Watkinsville, Georgia, next to Clark County, Athens, Georgia.
It's
Oh,
about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And we house for Fulton County. He's a part of a large amount of inmates that we house here. That he was brought to us by Fulton County earlier this month.
all right. Well, he can continue to remain at Oconee County Jail. He'll be given credit for the time that he has to serve out on this revocation. And if Fulton County comes and picks him up to serve out, complete the time, then that's how it will be calculated. Thank you, Deputy.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Law, I have position number 7. It was requested for him for the courtroom to be cleared.
Thank you.
This is Mr. Gay.
Well, the courtroom is not quite clear. Can I handle jail court iPhone?
Our courtroom is clear, but you mean as far as jail court's iPhone?
Who's in jail court iPhone?
We have on the probation calendar, positions number 2 and 3.
Is that your
Colin.
client, Miss Ebden?
What is the name?
Oh, I think that's Miss Watson Cafe's client. 2 and
That-
3, Anthony
Colin.
Boggs. No, position 2 is Anthony Boggs. Are you?
No, on the probation calendar.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Come on, Harry.
Oh, that's Andarius Collins.
Yes,
Yes.
that is mine, Your Honor.
Okay, let's handle that one first.
Okay.
Andarius Collins is have you talked to him?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
Thank you.
22 CR 4269C. The convictions for criminal trespass, possession, use of drug-related objects, and fair evasion. And the position 3 is the probation violation matter, 23 PV 1703. Mr. Collins, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Miss Rachel Abden. Do you see Miss Abden on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Officer Allison, you're deemed under oath. Why are we seeking a revocation in this matter?
Mr. Collins, failed to pay probation supervision fees in total of $120, victim crime funds in total of $27, failed to report as directed on July 21st, 2023, August 11th, 2023, and August 25th, 2023. He did not complete 40 hours of community service. He has 129 days remaining on his case. Probation is recommended for time served, case closed.
I'm sorry, to commute it to time served?
Yes, time served, case closed.
Okay. Ms. Abden, what is your response?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. This is going to be marked as a probation violation. With regards to this particular case, the disposition on the revocation is that he's been given time served. In other words, the sentence is commuted to time served, and his obligations for this case are over. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have position,
Hold on, I'm sorry, Gopi. Quick announcement. What was, what's, as far as Mr. Gay?
Collins?
7.
We're gonna do my probation violation with them. They're gonna log off and then I'll do his.
We're going to go into a breakout, Ms. Abden.
Okay, that works.
For
Thank
Mr.
you.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
All right, jail court iPhone, who do we have?
we have position number 27 and 28.
Let's see.
And Mr. McLean, is that your client?
Yes.
I'm gonna put you in the back. They're gonna do a breakout for you, okay?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
All right, thank you. This is State versus Ortiz Tea. Is that your name, sir? Ortiz Tea?
Ortiz, yes.
Okay. Mr. Tea, your case is 21 CR 4448E, in which you've got one count of interference with custody, a misdemeanor offense. And in your second case, you have a bench warrant from September 11th, 2023. With regards to both matters, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Michael McLean. This is going to be an arraignment and a bond modification request. Mr. McLean, do you waive a reading of the accusation?
We do, Your Honor. We have a copy.
All right. Mr. Tea, you've been cited for a misdemeanor offense. I've just listed the charge against you. Upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for trial. At the time of the trial, the prosecution would have the complete burden to try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. If the prosecution prevails and succeeds, you could be convicted and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead? Mr. Tea, given this information, how do you plead to the one count of interference with custody as a first or second conviction?
Guilty.
Well, certainly people sometimes change their minds overnight, and that's not a problem. If he wishes to plead guilty, I'll tell the court that we fully discussed the case yesterday, and I believe he is ready if he's made that decision.
Mr. Tea, did your attorney speak with you with regards to the recommended sentence offered by the prosecution if you decide to plead guilty?
Yes.
And is that what you'd like to do?
Yes.
You understand that you'll be on probation to do community service in a parenting class?
Yes.
And you also understand that you are not to have any contact with the mother and the child unless you go through a legitimation action?
Yes.
Is that what you want? Is that the recommendation you'll accept?
Yes.
All right. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony? Raise your right hand, sir. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Pierre Thomas, or Ms. Pope, excuse me. If you'd like to reiterate this recommended sentence to
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Tier.
Sure, it's 12 months served 30 days, credit for 15 days served from December 8th, 2023. The balance shall be probated. 40 hours of community service, a parenting class, and no contact with Amari Tay without legitimation and court-ordered visitation. And we did have an opportunity. I'm not sure if the mother is on, but my office did have an opportunity to speak with her, and she agreed with the state's plea offer.
All right.
Did she by any chance, okay, no violent contact?
My note, it said that she would also would be on Zoom, and so if we could sound for Masita Dakati, I don't know how to say her last name.
Could you repeat that name again?
It's
I'm sorry,
Masita. Sure, Masita, Massita, Dakite, Diakite.
I didn't see anyone chime in with that name, so you may proceed, Mr. McLean.
Your Honor, he does understand that it will be time served as the jail portion of his sentence. Then he will begin his probation immediately, do 40 hours of community service at a 501c3 corporation, not a school, not a church. He has to Google the 501c3 corporations and find one to do 40 hours and prove it with letterhead signed in ink. And he will have no contact with his son unless they go through the court procedures that have been outlined.
Okay. Mr. Tia, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue and ID, Mr. McLean?
We do.
Mr. Tia, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Well, yes.
You understand that you're pleading guilty to interference with custody with regards to Omari Tia and his custodial mother.
Yes.
And are you entering this guilty plea freely, willingly, and knowingly?
Yes.
Is anyone forcing you to enter a guilty plea today?
No.
And in your conversations with your attorney, has it been explained to you that if you decide to plead guilty, that there won't be a trial before a judge or a jury? There will not be an opportunity to confront your accuser, confront the witnesses brought against you, challenge the evidence brought against you, to be able to present any defenses, any mitigating factors if you choose to do so, and to waive your right to have the prosecution try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up all these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to one count of interference with child custody?
I'm sorry?
How do you plead to one count of interference with child custody?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months. To serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days. If you have no other holds, you will report to probation this Thursday before 3 p.m. The probation office is at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
While you're on probation, you will complete 40 hours of voluntary community service at any nonprofit agency. It cannot be a church and it cannot be a school. You must make sure that the supervisor signs off on the hours you have completed on a letter with the company's letterhead. Do you understand?
Yes.
You are to have no contact with Omari Tia and the mother. I can't pronounce the name. I'm so sorry. What was the name again, Ms. Pope?
My pronunciation may not be much better, but it's Masita Diakite, Diakite. Dikati. What is
Dikati,
it?
can you put that in the chat to Miss Melissa Grace, please?
Yes. Did you ask me to put it in the chat? Okay.
What that means, Mr. Taya, is that you have to stay 200 yards away and you cannot communicate with either one of them until you file a legitimation action in the appropriate superior court. And from this legitimation action, you get a superior court order declaring you as the father of the child and then establishing a visitation and joint custody arrangement. Do you understand, sir?
Yes. Well,
Right.
what I don't understand, you said my sentence is 12 months. Is that a probation period?
Yes. But while you're on probation, you can file the legitimation action to have visitation rights with your son. But until you get that order, you can have no contact with the mother and child.
Okay.
And 2 points, Your Honor. In the accusation then, am I to understand that Masita is actually her first name, correct?
Let me just look up the accusation. I don't want to mispronounce or misspell the name.
I mean, it may be inverted as to surname and first name. Not a major point, but I just want to write it down right on my stuff.
On the accusation, Masita is the last name.
So is that correct?
Make sure sorry.
I think we'll say no contact with Masita Diakate or Diakate Masita, also known as. Just to cover our bets on that one.
Very good. And could I ask the court to possibly consider the waiver of 2 or 3 months of the probation fee of $49 a month? Because-
Granted,
Thank you.
3 months of probation fees. All right, Deputy Francois, we're concluded with Mr. Taylor, please. Thank you. Mr. McLean, who do you have next to you?
This is Miss Watson Cafe's client,
That is
Terry
cor-
Harris.
That is correct.
Miss
She's on
Watson
probation.
Cafe, is she still with us or no? I see her here on the Zoom. She's also got another proceeding.
There she is.
I think she might be with the Clayton County case right now. So
Is she not signed on, Judge
she's
Law?
signed on. She
She
is
is?
signed on. I think she is juggling Clayton County and Fulton County from Zoom. Francois, can I go into a breakout with courtroom 2?
Yes, that's fine.
All right, Miss Abdon, are you in courtroom 2?
Yeah, I'm right here, Your Honor.
Okay. Miss Strong, can you place me courtroom 2 and either Miss Pope or Mr. Pierre Thomas or both of us?
All right, I'm gonna put you in the back. We don't have, the attorney available right now. She's doing another calendar with, Top County, okay? Let's put you back out. Ooh. All right, I'm joining, yeah.
Miss Grace.
He doesn't have his own. What's your name?
Oh, Miss Strong. I just wanted to know which case are they in the breakout for?
Can't answer that question.
Okay.
Ms. Garrison is position number 7.
Yes, I have it. Thank you.
Ms. Watson Cafe, are you by any chance available?
Yes, Sean.
All right. And is your client in courtroom 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. That was a probation? No, that was on the main SAP, right?
It's a probation matter. I don't,
13 and 14.
He was in here a moment ago. We'll have him brought back right now. Thank you.
and Your Honor, just while we're waiting, we have an offer from the probation that Mr. Harris is interested in accepting.
Okay. All right. This is State versus Terry Harris, 20 CR 005-829F. This is a probation revocation matter in which Mr. Harris was convicted of battery, family violence. The probation violation matter is 23 PV 1574. Mr. Harris, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Zakia Watson Cafe. Do you see her on the Zoom panel? You can, I can't hear you.
I'm
so
waving, sir.
Are you nodding your head? Can you see her?
I think he's muted. Oh, there
Can
you
you
go.
see her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Officer Allison, you've been deemed under oath. What is the basis for the revocation and the recommendation of the state?
Mr. Harris failed to pay probation supervision fees in total of $78, victim crime funds in total of $18, failed to report as directed on August 10, 2023, September 19, 2023, October 3rd, 2023, and October 9th, 2023. He did not complete domestic violence intervention program. He has 231 days remaining on his case. Probation is recommended to continue on probation and enroll in a class within 30 days.
Any objection, Ms. Watson Cafe?
No objections, and we'll stipulate to a factual basis for purposes of this plea. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I was going to ask you, does he have any other holds at the jail?
Not that I'm aware of, no, Your Honor.
Officer Allison, are you aware of any other holds?
I'm not aware of any other holds. I think it was
Okay.
only this one.
If this is the only matter holding him in the jail, then he has 231 days left, and I'll allow him to continue on probation. He will report to probation this Thursday, December 21st, before 3 p.m. at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. He must report to probation this Thursday. And then, yes, sir?
Oh, Your Honor, my own question is, what if they don't let me out before Thursday? Because I'm at Cobb County and they haven't been like releasing us on time. So can I just go soon I get released?
I don't know. You report to probation, then you report to Cobb County.
I'm in Cobb County, but we haven't been like released, like say, you releasing me today, but tomorrow I might not get released from jail. That's what I'm saying. I might.
Let me just check. Let me just check. I'm so sorry. I'm going to go and look at his J links and see what's the situation.
Or, Your Honor, if we can just put something in the order Thursday or within, 48 hours of his release, whichever is sooner.
I don't know when he's going to Cobb County, so.
No, I'm saying I'm in Cobb County. That's what I'm saying. I don't have no charges in Cobb County. I'm housed in Cobb County. But I'm just saying, like you saying, report Thursday. What if I'm still in jail on Thursday? What do I do? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I see. Okay. Before I make respond to your question, do you have any further jail obligations in Cobb County?
No, Your Honor, what I'm saying is I'm in Fulton County, but I'm being housed at Cobb County. And you
Okay.
you saying report Thursday, but what
Why are you being housed in Cobb County?
Your Honor, I believe there's an overage. I have a couple of clients that are in Cobb that are they are, Fulton County inmates. It's just a housing issue or a space issue. And so they're just being lent out or they're being housed in Cobb, but they're still pending. Their charges are only in Fulton County. It's just an overage or too many inmates are in Fulton County. They're also in other counties as well.
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. So now I understand. You have to report to probation within 48 hours of being released either from Fulton County or Cobb County. Does that make sense?
Yes, Your Honor, that's all I was asking.
All right. Now, next week, if it's not this week, then next week you have to report by Thursday, and that's the 28th.
Yes, Your Honor.
You have to report by 3 p.m.
Yes, ma'am.
And within 30 days of being released, you must enroll in a qualified domestic violence program and complete 24 weeks of classes.
And Your Honor, he's actually already completed 19. It appears that there's just an issue with him producing the paperwork to probation. So he has 5 more classes left for that. So he has been actively.
That's great, because I've just got failure to complete. So he needs to make sure he either enrolls or he resumes his DVIP classes within 30 days of being released.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then he will continue to report to probation every month until the remainder of the 231 days are completed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're active reporting probation until the 231 days are completed, and you must complete your DVIP within that time frame.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, this is going to be marked as a probation violation, and that concludes your case. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Watson Cafe. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Officer Allison, do we have any other matters on this calendar?
Yes, we have Mr. De Jesus and we have Ms. Lucky Godfrey.
Okay. So Lucky Brock and De Jesus, is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Right. And jail court iPhone, who do we have?
We have probation on the probation calendar, 4 through 9, De Jesus.
All right. Antonio De Jesus is position 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Who's representing Mr. De Jesus?
I am, Your Honor. I'm also representing the next client that they called. Ms. Wong.
Okay. So, Mr. Antonio De Jesus, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Ms. Rachel Abden, who's located at courtroom 2. You have the following cases in which convictions were obtained. 22 CR 6136Y, in which the conviction was for DUI under the influence of alcohol less safe and improper passing on the right. 22 CR 69605, convicted of battery. 23 CR 153Y, convicted of criminal trespass. And your probation violation matters are listed as 23 PV 1633, 23 PV 1634, and 23 PV 1635. So these are the 6 matters against you, sir. Officer Allison, you're still under oath. What is the basis for the revocation in his 3 underlying cases?
In case ending in 136Y, he has failed to pay court fines and surcharges in total of $671. Failed to report as directed on October 23rd, 2023. Failed to complete 12 weeks of anger management. Did not complete drug and alcohol evaluation, 40 hours of community service, risk reduction course, victim impact panel. On case ending in 960Y, did not report to court on October 23rd, 2023, did not complete 12 weeks of anger management, and did not complete drug and alcohol evaluation. On case ending in 153Y, it's the same. It's did not report to court on October 23rd, 2023, failed to complete anger management, did not complete drug and alcohol evaluation, and failed to pay restitution amount of $300. On all three cases, he has 76 days remaining. Probation is recommending to revoke the balance. We do have him in custody for 23 days. We'll give him credit for the 23 days.
So he's been in custody for 46 days and he's got 76 days left. Ms. Abdul?
He's been in custody for 23 days, Your Honor.
Oh, 23 days and
Yes.
he's got 76 more days left. Okay, yes.
Yes.
Ms. Abdul?
And I didn't hear, is it credit for time served?
Yeah.
Okay.
76 days credit, 23 days.
Yeah, Your Honor, I did speak with my client about this. It's my understanding, I know there is a lot of conditions in six separate cases. So to start, he missed reporting on October 23rd because he was actually, he voluntarily entered a rehab program for substance abuse. It's called Good Landing, and that's where he was. And when he found out that he had to appear for the revocation, he had the warrant, he turned himself in. It's also my understanding that he's been in, including Good Landing, four including Good Landing, other rehabs since being on probation to try to get his substance abuse under control. The reason that he kept switching is because of his insurance, and now he has stable insurance. And so, like I said, whenever he found out about the warrant, he turned himself in. And then as for the classes, he was unable to pay, Your Honor, since he was in rehab. He did not have a job. Same goes for let's see, I believe there's the restitution. And then for the drug and alcohol evaluation, I was not able to confirm this, but I spoke with him about it. And aside from being in rehab, that he told his probation officer about, he also is on felony probation, and he stated that he completed the drug and alcohol evaluation with the felony probation, and they were supposed to send it over to the misdemeanor probation. Like I said, I was unable to confirm that, given the short notice, but that is what he stated. And so, let's see. And then he also stated that if he is released, he does have stable housing, an address here in Alpharetta, Georgia. And he used to be the general manager at the dollar store. He would be able to return and work there. And if not, he also has another option for work, for construction. So I'm asking Your Honor, allow him to complete these requirements and not revoke his bond, probation.
And Your Honor, I'm actually the officer over this case. I did not receive anything from felony regarding the evaluation, so I do not have proof of any evaluation being completed. I do have a letter from Good Landing, but it says that he actually started that program on November 1st of 2023, which is after that court date.
Anything else, Ms. Abdul?
Yeah, he did show me a notice yesterday he had in his possession for the court date. It stated that he should appear, I think it was dated October 2nd, and that he should appear within 10 days. So he stated that he did not have adequate notice due to the fact that he was in and out of the rehab, Your Honor.
That is a
Miss-
tolling letter, not the court notice. The tolling letters.
Look, when was he convicted of the battery and the criminal trespass? When did he begin probation?
I think it's January 24th.
I have January 24th.
Okay, thank you. At the beginning of this year, he was convicted. I'm not sure what happened between January and November, but it appears that Mr. De Jesus entered into programs a little late and as an afterthought. I'm revoking his probation. He's to complete the remainder of his 76 days at the Fulton County Jail in lieu of all his other obligations he was supposed to have done. And he'll be given credit for the 26 days?
23.
23 days that he's already been in custody. Mr. De Jesus, you had plenty of time to complete your obligations. I don't know what were the reasons for your delay, but putting it off at the last minute, this is the result. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next case is Ms. Abdons in courtroom 2.
Quick question, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Is that a 22 days, 23 days taken off of the 76, or do I have 76 days total to serve?
76 less 23.
Okay, thank you.
This is Judge Court iPhone. We have one more. We have to go across the hall again. Position 17 and 18.
Okay, we'll wait.
Okay.
If you could mute, please. Thank you. Ms. Abdon, who do you have in courtroom 2?
No one.
That might be Lucky Brock that they've gone to get, but we have ACDC. Who do we have at ACDC, please?
She's at
Yes.
ACDC.
Mr. McLean or Ms. Abdon, is that your client?
Lucky?
No.
Smith.
Smith, that's Jasmine.
Yes, ma'am.
Janae Smith, okay, position number 24. Mr. McLean, that is your client. Have you had a chance to speak with her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. And are we still going to arraign the case?
I believe at this time, unless there's been a change, this is a
Okay.
novelty. We would waive the formal reading of the accusations.
All right. This is Jasmine Janae Smith, case 22 CR 7787F. Ms. Smith, my name is Judge Lal. And in this particular case, you're charged with battery, family violence, interference, and 2 counts of interference with custody from April 25th, 2022. Ms. Smith, these are the 2 misdemeanor charges that have been brought against you. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of the case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Michael McLean. Upon your entry of a not guilty to the charges brought against you, the case will be continued and reset for trial. At the time of the trial, the prosecutor would have the complete burden to prove the 3 charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt and to overcome your legal presumption of innocence. At the time of the trial, if the prosecution does carry its burden of proof and you are convicted of 1 or more of these charges, you could face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine for each convicted offense. So you're looking at a possibility of up to 3 years in prison and or up to a $3,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead?
I'm not guilty, Your Honor.
This case has been arraigned and it's going to be further notice for trial. Mr. McLean, anything else with respect to this case?
Well, Your Honor, although there are holds on her booking sheet, she tells me that those holds were, let's see, the right word is not inspired, but caused by the allegations here. And of course, the allegations here would need to be proven at least to some standard of proof appropriate to the type of proceeding to make it fair to even have those holds on her, and that will be done in other forums for us. So with the $4,500 bond on the failure to appear for fingerprintable charge related to this case, she would like to ask the court to consider making that something more like 1,000 or 1,500, which would help her out. She's telling me that this parole hold, if the parole officer said, you know, if this is taken care of, we're not trying to revoke your parole, but we do have a hold on you. So if the court could consider something in the neighborhood of $1,000, $1,500 surety bond in place of the existing 4,500, she believes that with family help, she could try to make that bond that would trigger the holds, and hopefully those other decision-making bodies would help her out.
Ms. Pope? She's got a Douglas County hold, she's got a Sandy Springs hold, and she's got a hold with the State Board of Pardon and Parole.
Yes, Your Honor. The state would ask that the bond remain $4,500. I can give you give me one moment, her criminal history as well as her prior failure to appear.
I just need her FTAs.
Okay, she has a 2010 FTA as well as a 2022 FTA. She has a separate 2022 parole violation. She also has a 2020 probation violation, in addition to other charges that are associated with her potentially not coming back to court. And the bench warrant that she received in this case was from a September 5th, 2023 plea and arraignment calendar where she failed to appear. I won't go through her full criminal history, but there is some concern by the state of her appearance in court. We do believe that the $4,500 surety bond is an appropriate bond on this particular case.
Yeah, that's what.
All right. Mr. McLean?
Yes, sir. I understand the state's argument. Let me point out the $4,500 bond is for the FTA associated with this. So apparently these three counts are not holding her in jail. It's just the FTA itself.
Yeah, the case is an older case. So she received a bond. I'm not sure if they came off the bond, but she bench warranted when she failed to appear at her plea and arraignment.
Understood.
Permission to judge.
Mr. McLean, your client would like to waive a right to remain silent. Anything she says can and will be used against her.
I can't imagine that we're going to add to really add anything to the issue before the court about the request for 1,000 or 1,500 compared to 4,500. I think we're probably verging on talking about the merits. I'm sure she is going to prevail in the trial, Your Honor. But that's
Ms. Smith, I would highly recommend that you remain silent. But if you want to add something, you could jeopardize your defenses or incriminate yourself. So it's up to you.
I just want to say one word, Your Honor. The reason why I got the verification of FTA, I got a verification of homelessness letter that I was in the program with Gateway, and that I was getting a residence through Gateway, which is the program I have completed to get me and my children a home, who I have custody of, or who I have in my custody as of now.
You have a failure to appear in Douglas County, in Sandy Springs, and you got a parole hold. How does the Gateway program explain your failure to appear?
I posted went to court. It stated on 9/5/2023. I didn't have an address for them to send the letter for court to. They sent the letter for court to my sister address, who is the same person who put out the warrant on me. So I was never get that.
But you do understand that you have multiple charges in different areas.
Yeah, they're misdemeanor charges, Judge.
It doesn't make it any less so.
It was only, they violated me because of this charge, Judge. That was it.
On the battery family violence, it's going to be $1,000 surety. The 2 counts of interference is $500 each. A total surety bond is $2,000, and she can only be released to either the Douglas County hold, the Sandy Springs hold, or the parole hold.
Now, Your Honor, on her booking fee is the FTA itself for $4,500. Can
Well,
that,
understood. That's why the bond on the FTA is amended. She makes the bond and that closes out the warrant on the FTA. She's already been arrested on the FTA warrant.
very good.
Okay? All right, but she's can only be released to the holds. So Mr. McLean, please make sure you put down that she can either be released to the Douglas County hold, the Sandy Springs, Georgia hold, or the State Board of Pardon Paroles hold.
Understood.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You have a blessed one.
And make sure we have a good address and you keep in touch with your attorney no matter where you are. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Jail court iPhone, who do we have? Is that Mr. Lucky Brock?
No. This is position 17 and 18, Mr. Royster.
Okay. Mr. McLean, that's your client, I believe, Marlon Royster. Would that be correct?
Right, Your Honor, that's a not guilty, bond is moot, and so we could file a waiver of presence and arraignment. And that would, I believe, comport.
I'm
with-
sorry, did you say you're gonna file a waiver of arraignment?
Yes, the waiver of presence and the arraignment itself, I think that would comport with his wishes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Royster, my name is Judge Lal, and in your particular case, 23 FTA 001138, and the underlying case 21 CR 26848, in which you're accused of terroristic threats, your attorney, Mr. Michael McLean, will file a waiver of arraignment and enter your plea of not guilty, and your case is going to be a further notice for trial. Thank you. Thank you.
That completes our list up here. With the
All right. Deputy, thank you for your patience. You take care. Thank you. All right. Let me just go down the calendar because we got still a couple more cases that we have to address. On the probation revocation calendar, we still have position 1 to address Lucky Brock. Spot, any idea?
What?
We have a probation violation case, Lucky Brock.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm representing her.
And so is she going to chime in from ACDC?
That is my understanding. Do you need to contact them or are they on the line?
Okay. Position 2, Collins, I believe that was time served on his probation matter. Position 4, De Jesus is to continue on, his probation is revoked. And that is all the way through position 9. Position 10, Flores is, balance is revoked. And then position 12, Lucky Godfrey, is that the same person?
Yes, that's the same person as position 1.
Okay, so position 1 and 12 is same person. Position 13 is to continue in probation. That's Terry Harris. Position 15, Antonio Snelling. We haven't addressed that, right?
I think they wanted to reset it to Thursday.
Okay. Reset to December 21st. And then position 17, Tony White is continued on probation. Position 19, Courtney Williams, probation revoked. And that concludes that other than, so we are only waiting on position 15 and 1 and 12.
Yes, 1 and 12.
Okay, SAP calendar, position number 1, Barr is released. Position 2 was a plea. Position 3 is arraigned and further notice for trial. 4, Boulay is reset to December 21st, behavior issues. Position 5 and 6 were pleas. Position 7 is arraigned and further notice for trial. Position 8 and 9, Hamid, 8 is a plea, 9 is null pros. 10, Hodo is a plea. 11, Infante is a plea. 12, Devontae Jenkins. This is going to be a waiver of appearance and to address the case.
Yes, Your Honor, we'll file that.
All right. So Devontae Jenkins, you will file a waiver of arraignment.
Yes,
All right. That's for positions 12 and 13.
correct.
Position 14, and that's Reynolds Collins. He's 14 and 16. What do you want to do?
That person has gone back. I believe they have a felony charge anyway, so if that was put till Thursday, we could investigate that. We didn't have the paperwork because it was thought to be a private counsel on 14/16.
Oh, my Lord. December 21st is going to be a very fun calendar. Okay, make sure you get your cappuccino going, Mr. McLean.
The elves will be busy.
All right. Position 15, Bernard Mitchell is released. Position 17 is a waiver of arraignment and further notice for trial. Same announcement for 18. 19, Schooler is a plea. 20 is a plea. 21, Shields is arraigned and further notice for trial, pending a transfer to Superior Court. 22, Sims is a plea. 23 is null crossed. 24, Jasmine Smith is arraigned and further notice for trial, bond modified. 25, Strozier is, you're going to file a waiver of arraignment,
We are.
right? And that's going to be further notice for trial. 26, Sykes is released on December 16th. 27, Ortiz here was a plea. 28 is null crossed. 29, Amir Thomas is, what are we doing for Amir Thomas? 29, 30, and 31, and 32?
29 and 30 together are a non-negotiated plea, and that will cause the other two to be null process.
Have we addressed them?
No, no, we haven't.
Okay, 29 through 32. And then Jesse Thompson, position 33 to 34.
That was a bond.
No, Mr. McLean?
We handled Mr. Thompson with the bond matter, 1,500.
Okay, that was already addressed. And then, but he was arraigned and further notice for trial. So 33 and 34 are going to be further notice for trial.
Yeah.
35, Darren Williams. Did we do a plea there?
We have not yet done so. That is a plea.
Okay. So Ms. Abden, you have position 12 and probation revocation 1 and 12. And then Mr. McLean, you have 29 and through 32 and 35. Officer Francois, do we have an update on these clients?
We have an update on people like Amir Thompson and Darren Williams. And a few others.
Ms. Kim, we're gonna call you back, okay?
Your Honor, I think she just needs a moment to look into it.
Okay, no problem. Or you will just be in a recess until we get an update. Thank you. Any updates, Ms. Abden?
Hi, one second. Your Honor, we spoke with ACDC. They should be logging on shortly. And we are working on finding Thomas, but if we're unable to find Thomas, we might have to do a reset to the 21st, but the calendar is, you know.
I think they know where Thomas is. We just need to put a phone in front of his face.
All right, we have another calendar here at 1 o'clock, so time's a ticking.
We got
No?
you.
We're trying.
Yeah, we got
No
you.
problem. Thank you.
Oh, it's too
Okay.
So we might.
Courtroom 2, we need an update on the positions we're waiting on. If we reset those cases, it's going to be a tight squeeze for this Thursday, and then otherwise we don't, we have to further notice them to January.
Francois is on her way. ACDC.
You guys still haven't had ACDC come on? Nope. You said you spoke to them, right? What'd they say? And they said they were gonna sign on. ACDC, they're good for that. They don't, I don't know. Judge Law, as far as the status for ACDC, we're gonna have to get back with you on that because they did say they're supposed to be signing on and they never did, so that's kind of
Okay.
out of our control. And then who else are we missing?
We're missing, well, 1 in 12 is female. And then on the SAP is position 12. I think they're all female. Isn't that correct, Miss Abden?
No, we're missing Amir, it's Williams.
Well, number 35, Darren Williams, is a male who's on the 6th floor of ACDC.
And then we have Thomas.
Amir Thomas is the Marietta Annex young man who is frequently on kitchen work detail instead of being in the actual Marietta Annex building.
Yeah.
So he might be in the building I'm standing in, working in the kitchen,
Love it.
or he might be somewhere else.
Okay.
Position 12?
That's mine, that's at ACDC. She's now.
Okay.
So I hope they're gonna sign on soon.
But not right now, you know.
Position 12, didn't you want to file a waiver of arraignment?
Oh,
Miss
12, that'll be in my section.
Oh, I thought we were talking about probation, I'm sorry. Here we go, 12 is.
Name 12, I think that is a waiver.
Without you being present, they still.
12, 13.
Yeah.
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 Jenkins, Devontae Jenkins is a waiver.
Yeah, that is a waiver.
That's a waiver.
12 and 13 on the main calendar are waivers.
Okay, so we're looking for Thomas and Williams
Correct.
and Brock, Lucky Brock.
Lucky Brock.
That's the probation, that's.
Okay, just let y'all know, I mean, it's gonna be a tight squeeze this Thursday, otherwise it will be further notice to the first Tuesday of January.
Yeah, we sure don't want to put these off if we can avoid that because,
All right. Let me know in the next few minutes, otherwise, we'll do it on the 21st.
We'll call them back, let's see.
All right.
Sorry, thank you. Your Honor.
Are you missing anybody?
We have Brock on
Here comes
from
Lovett.
ACDC.
Come on, Lovett. Oh.
All right. This is State versus Lucky Brock. Ms. Brock, my name is Judge Lal, and you have a probation revocation matter. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Ms. Rachel Abdon. Your case number is your probation violation case is 23 PV 1695. And the underlying case in which you were convicted, hence the revocation matter has come up, is 22 CR 8569B, in which the conviction was for simple battery and criminal trespass. Ms. Officer Allison, you've already been placed on oath. What's the basis of the revocation?
Yes. It's Lucky. She failed to obtain by the law by committing a new offense of public indecency on November 30th, 2023 in Fulton County. Failed to report as directed on June 29th, 2023, July 6th, 2023, and July 24th, 2023. Failed to complete 6 weeks of anger management and did not complete MHET. Probation is recommending, she has 176 days remaining on probation. Probation is recommended to continue on probation, complete MHET within 30 days, and enroll in anger management within 60 days.
Ms. Abdon, does your client have any other holds?
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor.
Right. And any objection to marking this as a violation and continuing her on probation?
No, Your Honor, and I spoke with her about connecting her with PAD or other housing programs, which I'm going to work on so she can make sure that she's compliant with all these requirements.
All right. Ms. Brock or Ms. Godfrey, this is going to be marked as a probation violation in which you have failed to comply with the terms of probation. Did you understand that?
Yes.
And do you understand that you will be required to continue reporting to probation? And if you fail to comply with the conditions and the reporting, that you will be back in jail to serve out the rest of the time in prison?
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Okay. This is going to be marked as a probation violation. She will continue on probation. She must report to the probation office this Thursday, December 21st, 2023, before 3 p.m. She'll be required to complete her MHET, and she must enroll in the evaluation within 30 days from today. She must also enroll and begin her anger management classes within 60 days from today. Ms. Godfrey, you'll need to enroll in those classes and take your evaluation in a very short time period, and you need to continue to report to probation every month. If you fail to do so, we will revoke the rest of your probation. Understood?
Yes.
Thank you.
And
All right.
Your Honor,
Concludes the case.
Your
Yes,
Honor,
Ms.
may I just be heard real quick? So, thank you. My client is, her indigency is a concern. As I've stated, she is currently residentially insecure. I would like to request that the probation fee be waived if possible, or the class fee be waived. I'm just concerned that she's not gonna be able to afford it right now without work and without housing.
All right, I'll waive the probation fees for the rest of the time, but she will need to complete her classes and her MHET. Yeah.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Who do we have next?
Your Honor, that concludes my matters in probation. Can I be excused?
Yes, thank you, Officer Allison.
Have a good one.
ACDC, who do we have, please?
What's your name?
All right, Ms. Strong, can we mute the iPhone, please? Thank you. Mr. McLean, is that your client at ACDC?
Yes, Your Honor, it is. That's Mr. Darren Williams.
Mr. Williams, okay.
All right.
That's why I gave
This is State versus Darren Allen Williams. ACDC, could we unmute the phone, please? Thank you. Mr. Darren Allen Williams, can you hear me? My name is Judge Long.
Yes, I can, Judge, Your Honor.
Your case is 23 CR 7888G, in which you are accused of loitering and prowling from October 2nd, 2023. You have a right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Michael McLean. Please remember that any statements you make about your case, your statements can and will be used against you. But for purposes of the plea, may I place you under oath?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Pope, what is the recommendation for Mr. Williams?
It was 12 months probation, serve 124 days, credit for the 62 days served, balance suspended upon staying away from all Georgia Tech property.
All right. And Mr. McLean, do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
We certainly do.
All right. Mr. Williams, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
Just psych meds, Your Honor.
All right.
Prescription drug doctor here. No alcohol.
Okay. Are you able to understand what's going on so far in your case?
Very much, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
I'm very satisfied, yes.
And is anyone forcing you to plead guilty today?
Not at all, no, Your Honor.
And do you understand that if you decide to plead guilty to loitering and prowling, you'll be giving up your right to have a trial in a court of law? You will not be able to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights? How do you plead to one count of loitering and prowling?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 124 days, credit for time served 62 days. Your jail time is concluded, the balance is suspended. However, you cannot return to any property belonging to the Institute of Technology of Georgia. In other words, stay away from all Georgia Tech property.
I understand, Your Honor.
Every single one. Understood?
I have one question. About this summer, I'd like to move home to St. Louis. Do I have to stay in Atlanta, Georgia for a year to do my probation?
You're not on probation. This case is concluded. If you're on probation in another case, then you will need to go and check with probation on that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. You are free to go.
Your Honor.
Mr. McLean, the only position left is Mr. Thomas, position 29 to 32. I'm resetting that to December 21st.
Very good, Your Honor. I understand. That helps.
All right. Okay, that concludes our calendar. See y'all.